It will be Arsenal who'll get us underway in this green, blue and white kit. So the body of the shirt, mainly bottle green, navy blue sleeves and trim, and blue shorts and white socks. And Fulham here at Craven Cottage on their home patch in the white shirts with the black sleeves, black shorts and black socks. And Arsenal kicking off, firing it forward and conceding a throw-in down in the Fulham right-back area. Marco Silva just making a change at right-back. Tete's on the bench, but Castagna coming in, and he's going to take this throw, which he does up the far side of the field. The big Riverside stand, still not full. It won't be fully occupied until next season now because of the delays in completing it, but you do have a smattering of spectators in either side of the top tier and all along the bottom of that new stand right next to the River Thames. Arsenal going all the way back to their goalkeeper, David Raya, who turns and plays the ball out towards the left-hand side, and Arsenal begin to build from the back with Gabriel and Saliba. Gabriel takes his time to turn to his right and pass it to Ben White, and then Declan Rice for the first time in the match is onto the ball and bringing it towards the halfway line, but he also turns and goes back to the defensive line. This is very gently from Arsenal in the opening stages.
Yeah, I mean, and anyone thinking that Kivior in the team isn't going to drop into that midfield role, that can be expelled straight away. Straight into the centre of midfield, the Arsenal left back, where you'd usually see Zinchenko operating, maybe not his most dominant skill set in terms of receiving the ball on the half-turner with his back to play, but the makeshift left back is certainly in that central midfield role at the moment.
Yeah, Kivior clearly has been given the brief to do exactly what Zinchenko does. So Kivior still central as Arsenal come forward with Odegaard. I thought there were some great touches from Odegaard in the match against West Ham on Thursday night. Bergkamp-esque as he is when he's at his best.
Oh, it's a big compliment, John.
Well, he is. He does have no, you're not.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think there are some touches.
Well, there's one now, right on the edge of the penalty area from Odegaard. Opens his body, takes on Robinson. It comes back to Odegaard. He's cutting in field. He shoots left-footed, and that wasn't far away. Maybe a yard wide. It just didn't. It didn't bend back in as he would have wanted to.
Not quite Bergkamp-esque, was it?
That one wasn't.
No. But, I mean, very good with the left foot from this range, Martin Odegaard. He just loves coming inside. He swings that left foot, wraps it round the ball, certainly curving towards that far post. He's not that far away.
I think he's warming to this season. I feel when I've seen him in the first half of the season, not quite hit the heights of last season, but that was promising in the early stages for Arsenal. Fulham 0. Arsenal 0. There is a choice of listening. A very good game on Sports Extra right now, I feel. Tottenham against the form team, Bournemouth, who've surprised us all, Matt. So let's see what they're going to... Isn't it? It is. No, I don't think anyone was expecting that.
No, I certainly wasn't. I mean, credit to them, as we were chatting about before the game. They've been excellent, haven't they?
So Mike Williams is there. He's going to keep us up to date with that. Tottenham against Bournemouth is on Sports Extra on your digital radio or via BBC Sounds, where you can also listen to us if you're on the move on New Year's Eve. Commentated Christmas Eve, now commentating New Year's Eve. Here's Dikodo Farid in the centre circle, playing the ball out to the left-hand side. Willian, one of those former Arsenal men against his former side, didn't really do himself justice, I felt, in the time that he was there. It was felt that he was moving towards the end of his career, not so, and that's a great pass from Willian over to the right-hand side, but Castagna arriving onto it, couldn't pull it across the box, and Arsenal suddenly, like a flash, are breaking away downfield. Martinelli, he's flying, he's into the penalty area, he's on his right foot, he shoots, and it is blocked on the large in. It's been deflected in, and somehow the ball, Saka runs away. I think he got the crucial touch in there. Martinelli, though, brilliant down the left-hand side, and Arsenal in front in the 5th minute. And a lightning counter-attack makes it Fulham 0, Arsenal 1.
Well, talking before the game about the balance of the Fulham team, have they got that defensive midfield set up right? And Castagna, who got so far forwards, kept the ball in play, but it's been to Fulham's detriment, really, because Arsenal have just gone straight up the other end. I'm just checking the offside on Saka, who's just breaking into that 6-yard box line as Martinelli cuts into the box onto his right foot. He shoots toward the far post. It's a save from Leno, but he can only parry it into that 6-yard box line where Saka is lurking amongst the group of defenders, and I think he's just about level or a yard or so onside, and the ball just ricochets out from Leno onto Saka, and it's an open goal. It's just tapped into the far corner, and I mean, great position from him. That wide player on the opposite side, he's got in where it hurts, but great counter-attack from Arsenal.
Bukayo Saka, if this is confirmed, it is confirmed. Play gets underway again, Fulham kick-off, and Arsenal have the lead in the 5th minute. So just like the game at the Emirates, an early goal, not quite as early as it was when Pereira scored against Arsenal in the return fixture, but Saka scoring with his 9th goal of the season, Arsenal's top scorer. So an early blow for Fulham. Still 0-0. Tottenham and Bournemouth are going to go there in a minute. It was actually a very good save by Leno from the shot from Martinelli. He was at full extension, diving to his left, but Saka was right on the spot to put it in. Yeah,
he didn't have much control over where the ball went out. I mean, that, as a goalkeeper, they always obviously love to parry wide and just get the ball out of the goal mouth, but it was at full stretch. It was a good save, John, you're right, and it just fell straight into Saka,
who scores his first goal in 6 appearances. So Bukayo Saka on the score sheet. It is Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Let's see how things have started over in North London with you, Mike Williams.
Tottenham 0, Bournemouth 0 here, John. 6 minutes on the clock. Good start from the home side, though. Lightning break from Brennan Johnson down the right, pinged it across the Son. Couldn't quite control it, though, and blazed wide. At the other end for Bournemouth, Dominic Solanke, their main man at the moment, just had a nasty clash of heads with his own player, Justin Cliver. Looks to have struck that off for now, though. And one notable onlooker here today, John, in North London. One, Hugo Lloris, surely making his final appearance here before moving to the MLS, announced in the last few hours, joining Los Angeles FC. 11 years at the club, 7th on the all-time Spurs appearance list, and guest of the chairman Daniel Levy, no less, today.
Yes, I'm not sure everyone gets to be the guest of Daniel Levy, so a great career that Hugo Lloris has had in this country. And to add to what Jules was saying, Julien Laurent, before the start of the match, I remember Hugo Lloris as the France captain round about the time of the Bataclan attacks. He was absolutely inspirational, and you know, the way that he handled himself there and the way that he was as the captain of France, I thought spoke volumes about the character that he is. So we wish him very well. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal in front, but what a counter-attack it was that led to that goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was swift from Arsenal, which we know they're good at, but you have to step back a minute and have a little look at Fulham as well, John. I mean, the first time they get forward, Castagne's committed in that full-back position. They've got to defensively set up better, and somebody's got to drop across and fill that hole. There's a gaping hole on the Fulham right flank, and Arsenal exploited it. They're going to. That's how good Arsenal are with the counter. So for me, Fulham need to look at that and think that a midfield player has to drop out into that wide area.
Yes, and Martinelli, who will get an assist obviously for that goal. Martinelli, who has struggled this season at times. You know, that is absolute. Talk about building your confidence. That is exactly what you want.
Yeah, I mean, there just hasn't been enough end product from Martinelli this season, has there? But you're right, there's an assist in this game already. He's got to maintain that and keep those assists or goals up.
Palhinha wins a battle with Declan Rice centre field, and then Gabriel puts the challenge in on Palhinha, which certainly the Fulham fans thought might have been given as a free kick, and I would tend to agree with them.
Well, the referee was right on top of it though, wasn't he?
Yeah, referee is Josh Smith, by the way, and he does give a free kick to Arsenal halfway inside their own half. Josh Smith, who I can't remember covering a match that he has refereed in the Premier League before, so we had a look, and it is only his 4th Premier League match, so a big day for Josh Smith, a match of this profile. Back to Tottenham, because Mike Williams,
the home side have the lead here, John. It's Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0. Pape Sarr with only his 2nd goal of the season. Clinical finish from the Senegalese after some hesitancy in the Bournemouth defence. It was the Bournemouth keeper Neto really who hesitated, couldn't really get his clearance out. Spurs pounced, Sarr running and racing through onto the box and then let fly from the edge of the area and slotted low into the left-hand corner. It is Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0.
So Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0, Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. That match on Sports Extra, this here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Martinelli again on the left-hand side, just while you were listening to Mike. Got the ball, swirled it into the near post, and Leno was able to catch the ball into his body. I thought for a moment there he was going to drop it. He seemed to catch it with the very ends of his fingers, hands pointing down, but he did hold it. That's the important thing. Here's Rice on the halfway line. It is quite breezy here There is a wind swirling around Craven Cottage, probably helped by the fact that we're right here next to the river. Here's Rice. Rice again just gives the ball back, and Arsenal already in a position here exactly where they want to be, having knocked on the door. I was reading, a bit like you, Matt, I read that Arsenal had 77 touches in the opposing penalty area against West Ham, which apparently is a Premier League record in a match in which you don't score.
Yeah.
And here they are, first attack at Craven Cottage, ball in the net.
Well, you just would swap all of that, wouldn't you? And sometimes it is a lot about control with Arsenal and keeping hold of the ball and dominating the opponent, but you have to be direct sometimes, and that for me was the game for Kai Havertz. You know, that's what he brings to the team a little bit more. He's maybe a little bit more rugged and scruffy with the ball in terms of close control and those little tight triangles, but he brings something different in terms of physically, the way he arrives in the box, his timing, his instinct in that area, I think is very sharp and very intuitive. So, you know, that was the type of player that was missing for me in that West Ham game.
Yeah. De Cordova-Reid is bundled over by Gabriel on the far side, so it's a free kick to Fulham. They've got the ball on the edge of their own box with Kearney, who just plays it out to the right-hand side to Tosin Adarabioyo, and then back again to Tosin, who passes it forward to Palhinha. There's a lot of speculation about what might happen to him in January. Palhinha, important for Fulham, and here they are on the attack. Castagna into the penalty area, but couldn't get the ball across. Played it into the first defender, who's Gabriel, and then Havertz is fouled, and it is a free kick to Arsenal halfway inside their own half. I think you have to give Mikel Arteta a great deal of credit for playing Havertz where he has as the left side of the midfield three. Invariably when we would watch him with Chelsea, he would be either on the left side up front or indeed as the centre forward. Yeah,
I mean, it's been a bumpy ride, hasn't it, for the manager and for the player. As we said, from the moment Havertz signed, it wasn't received particularly well before he'd even kicked a ball, and then it did start that well.
This free kick, just to explain the reaction.
Yeah, the fans aren't happy, are they? Just taking their time with David Raya coming all the way up the pitch into the middle of his half to take this free kick long,
which he does. Pumps it down the left-hand side. Martinelli on the chase, but Fulham have got it away. De Cordova-Reid, but he loses out, comes back over the top. Tosin Adarabioyo, right-footed hook away on the edge of his penalty area. Then Havertz stretches in, but Fulham have got it back and play it back to Leno. Yes, that's another surprise of the season, that Havertz has turned out to be such an important figure in this Arsenal lineup. Left-footed ball forward from Bassi. Jimenez is after that, but the offside flag is up against the Mexican, and it's a free kick to Arsenal.
He looks bright today, doesn't he, Jimenez? You can tell he's had a little bit of a rest with his suspension over Christmas. And talk about perseverance, John. I mean, he's a player that both himself and I think for Marco Silva in bringing him into Fulham and giving him that role as that lead number 9 has been a difficult process, hasn't it, since that awful injury that he sustained. And for me, he's just really gradually growing back into that player we saw pre that injury, which for me was a top player.
Yeah.
I thought he was outstanding.
Yep.
And he's just gradually growing. And I'm looking at him today, he's got a smile on his face, he's bouncing around the pitch. He looks really interested in wanting to make those runs in behind and already won a couple of headers in the air. So I think he's gradually getting back into that kind of form, which is good to see.
Yeah, Jimenez, don't forget, he scored 27 goals for Wolves in that season before he sustained the head injury.
He was destined for big things.
He was very big. Yeah, people were talking top 4 club.
Yep.
But he's got 3 in his last 3 appearances before the suspension. Willian, nice, that is good, to Robinson. Robinson's ball across, then the shot on the edge of the penalty area from Jimenez, but too close to Raya, who was able to go down and make a routine save really to his left.
Well, that's lovely play. Great play from Fulham. Willian comes inside, sees the overlap of Robinson, waits the ball, and what I like about Robinson, he's got a gully to hit this ball, and it's across that 6-yard box line, but he sees Jimenez just pull onto the penalty spot, cuts that ball back, and it's a difficult one to control for Jimenez. He tries to side volley it and just use the pace of the ball to guide it into the corner, and can't quite get it wide enough, and doesn't get enough power either because it was such a hard first-time ball to hit.
And Nketiah goes, as he takes a touch of the ball, in comes Bassi and fouls Nketiah on the halfway line. Feels like a big day for Nketiah today. And he's got the 6 goals that he scored this season. Made his England debut, as we know, Matt. But you know, aside from the hat-trick against Sheffield United, and as I say, scored last time he started against PSV, I think they're expecting more, hoping for more from him.
I think they can say a lot about the Arsenal front three in terms of expecting or hoping for more in terms of goals. You know, like Jesus, Martinelli, Saka, now on 6 Premier League goals and 6 assists, is the most dangerous player in the team in terms of those statistics. But certainly Jesus and Martinelli need to weigh in with more goals.
So it's 1-0 to Arsenal here on 5 Live. Tottenham winning 1-0 in the other match. Here's Martinelli to the byline on the left-hand side, pulls it back, but it's blocked away, cleared away by Castagna out towards the far side. And that's a foul on Deco Dova-Reid, who again, not for the first time in this match, is shoved over. And it's a free kick to Fulham in their own right-back position. So that's already a good end to the year for Bukayo Saka, player of PFA Young Player of the Year last season, 15 goals, joint top scorer for Arsenal. You know, with the issue through the middle, Saka's goals are just so important for this Arsenal side and what they might achieve in 2024. Free kick is taken by Leno, downfield, into the Arsenal half. Gabriel heads it forward, Palhinha heads it back, then Palhinha is quite firmly challenged by Havertz. I think there was a little bit of arm in that, but play continues. Here's Castagna bursting down the right, the Belgian still going, and then he lifts the ball high into the penalty area above Willian, and Saka was in there ahead of Willian and able to clear it away. Robinson, he's another one whose future is being talked about at the moment, just plays it back to Leno.
Well, looking bright on the flanks, Fulham. Robinson getting forward, Castagna in such an advanced position. It's a bit of a gamble, I have to say. Certainly at 1-0 down as well already, but they're looking threatening in those wide areas. I think Castagna could have maybe just crossed that a touch earlier. I think he couldn't see anyone in the box and just held onto the ball and waited, but I think just put it in there, ask the question, make the Arsenal back four defender across, heading backs towards their own goal. It's never a comfortable position for a centre-back.
Beautifully played out from the back by Fulham, and Kearney is now released. The Fulham captain crosses the halfway line now. He's got Willian just down in front of us here. Willian, who's got his black gloves on, long sleeves. Willian moves in field, but in comes the challenge from Ben White, who just went with him, took a little touch to take it away from him, and Arsenal are off with Saka in the centre circle, but he's shrugged off the ball by Robinson. The Fulham fans feeling that Saka went down rather easily there, and now Jimenez 25 yards out, couldn't find the pass into the penalty area, straight into the feet of Gabriel, who was able to control it and play it away.
Well, nice passage of power. I think Robinson tracked him all the way in. Referee again right on top of it, bit of a shove from Robinson, but I don't think he felt it was enough to cause a foul. Saka went down, but that's a good matchup, isn't it? When you look at pace and stopping and turning ability, Robinson and Saka, they're both pretty well evenly matched.
Well, as I've said many times, probably sometimes when I've been sitting next to you, whenever I come to a match, Fulham match, and see Anthony Robinson, he almost always impresses me, and I'm not surprised he's been spoken of. You know, it's Liverpool, isn't it, who is one of the clubs that he's been mentioned as a potential signing for. Ball forward from Robinson. Here's Jimenez, plays it squared as well. He had Arsenal shirts all around him, but he gives it out to the right hand side. Here's Iwobi, right-footed cross from him, dangerous, right across the penalty area. Willian's got it, Willian curls it across the face of goal and wide. Big chance Fulham, and Willian grits his teeth as he turns and looks towards us here in the Johnny Haynes stand. Big chance, not taken.
Well, they just look the most threatening at the moment, Fulham. Since conceding, they're getting the ball wide, crossing it into the box, they're making a nuisance of themselves. Jimenez is in there and it falls to Willian on his right foot. We've got a great view of this shot. We're literally right behind it, and it's probably a good metre wide of that far post, but he's just looking to bend it in there with his right foot.
Yes, the returning Willian, the 35-year-old Willian as he is now, is actually one of Fulham's top scorers this season, joint top scorers with 4 goals, and we're halfway through the season. Jimenez, Willian and Iwobi. Saliba in danger of being dispossessed by Alex Iwobi, but he was able to recover and play it downfield now. In Nketiah in a battle with Bassi, but it is Bassi who runs away with it back into his own penalty area and gives it to Leno. So Fulham 0, Arsenal 1 here at Craven Cottage, while over in the Tottenham Stadium, Mike Williams.
It's still Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0, 20 minutes just under on the clock here, John. A moment ago, though, long range glove stinger from Emerson Royal for Tottenham. The Bournemouth keeper Neto getting down to his left to push it round for a corner. From that corner, Bentancur heading over from Ben Davies's corner. It remains here 1-0 to the home side.
Fulham in possession on the halfway line. Polinia there is indicating that he expected more movement in front of him. Instead, he just tapped it to his right to Tosin Adarabioyo. And now Bassi, Kearney, but Arsenal have got everyone back behind the ball. 20 minutes have been played. It is Fulham 0, Arsenal 1 in this, our final 5 Live Premier League commentary of 2023. Getting it out of the way early, the 2 o'clock kickoffs, and then everyone's free to do whatever you want to do on New Year's Eve. Kearney, left-footed ball forward down the left-hand side. Robinson to chase it down into the full-back position. White goes with him. Robinson's first-time cross, but that's onto the chest of Saliba, who is then fouled by Dikoroveri. No free kick given. Williams now running it across the edge of the box. Shoots, that's blocked. Iwobi, right foot shot, that's blocked on the edge of the penalty area, and the ball skitters away, spinning across the surface. And even though Raya sprints out to his left-hand side, he can't reach it before it rolls off the pitch and into all of the photographers who are gathered down there in front of the hoardings.
Well, that's the second time Saliba has been right under pressure, in control of the ball. He chests it down in the box, very composed centre-back, but didn't see Dikoroveri just sneaking up alongside him to tow that ball away. And all of a sudden Fulham, they really are on the front foot here, trying to apply pressure high up the pitch and get after Arsenal, certainly the back four anyway.
Fulham under pressure, having not scored in their last 3 Premier League matches, and 1-0 down here to the early goal from Saka. Willian with a corner, outswinger towards the penalty shot, and over the bar from Jimenez, who was under pressure. Challenge was coming in on him, and he rather snatched at it and lifted it high over the crossbar and halfway up the Putney end.
I'm sure that is a set piece that he specialises in, Jimenez, that shot. It's very Teddy Sheringham-esque, isn't it? That kind of move from the back post into the front post for a volley off of a corner direct. I think he makes that move a lot. The Arsenal players were aware of it and just managed to block his run a little bit and make life difficult for him.
Here's Odegaard for Arsenal, through the middle to Nketiah, just outside the D, but with his back to goal, turns, gives it out to Saka on the right-hand side. Saka, left-footed into the penalty area, headed away across the box by Bassi, headed further away by Iwobi, but Arsenal get it back, get the ball on the ground again with Gabriel, who comes in field towards Rice. David Raya has just sat down 5-6 yards outside of his penalty area. He's got a problem. I'm not sure the Arsenal players are aware of this, and he is sort of flexing his legs. He's got his gloves, and the referee spotted it, Josh Smith, and even though Arsenal were on the attack, they've stopped playing. The physio is coming on. David Raya has a problem, and obviously Aaron Ramsdale somewhere over there will be getting himself ready.
He's pointing to his eye, David Raya. As soon as the physio comes on, his right eye, whether or not something has just gone in it or he's got some kind of issue with his right eye.
Contact lens? Possibly, something like that.
Maybe.
It can be an issue.
Yeah, maybe.
That doesn't answer the question why he was sitting flexing his legs.
Yeah, I thought it looked like a calf injury to begin with, and all of a sudden he pointed to his eye.
Yes.
He needed to sit down because my eye's hurting.
Yeah. Well, if you're a goalkeeper and you can't see.
Yeah, it is a problem.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yes, I remember that from my youth, actually. Jim Leighton, famously, of course.
Yeah.
What was the story about Jim Leighton? He didn't tell Alex Ferguson that he wore contact lenses. Is that the story? I think that was right, wasn't it?
Didn't wear his teeth either, did he?
Well,
that's what I remember.
Yeah, he didn't wear his teeth.
Yeah.
I think more of an issue was being able to see.
Yeah, true.
So, David Raya, if it was a contact lens, whatever the problem was, it's been rectified. And Aaron Ramsdale, who is over there, he stands out like a beacon in a red Arsenal training jacket in front of the Riverside stand, which is all black and white. I think he can go and sit down. I think Raya's okay.
Yeah. He's out having a bit of a warm-up, bit of a stretch.
So it is Fulham 0, Arsenal 1, and play will resume presumably with a drop ball. Yeah, Josh Smith, the referee, is down here in front of us. And Arsenal, it will be uncontested. Fulham are standing off this, so the ball's just going to be dropped down for Ben White any moment now. And off we go again. And the boos, it wasn't hostile, was it? There was just a gentle chorus of boos. Some grand. naming no names. That might have been a good deal more hostile.
I'm not sure hostile exists here quite. I mean, it can get really raised, and I've played here, and it's been a great atmosphere, very noisy, but it's very well put together. Yeah, very well put together.
Yes, I've seen all sorts of well-heeled people, I think you would call them, around Craven Cottage today. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1, and Tottenham continue to lead 1-0 against Bournemouth. Here's Declan Rice, back to the halfway line. White then turns it back into centre field, Saliba, and then Gabriel to the left. Arsenal, with that early goal, have got Fulham where they want them. And it is with Kivior on the left-hand side, who is actually in a left-sided position just now, having really started the match in central midfield. Coming in for Zinchenko, who's out today, not involved because of a calf problem. Odegaard slips over, much to the amusement of some of the Fulham fans behind us, but he's back on his feet, he's okay. And then Kivior has given it away, but De Cordova-Reid, actually it was just beyond him, and Martinelli hairs back in to make sure Arsenal keep possession and play it back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Back to Tottenham, Mike Williams.
Still Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0, but it could have been 2 here for the home side. Another one of those lightning quick breaks from Spurs that have the home fans on their feet. Richarlison robbed it off Senesi, the Bournemouth defender, in the middle of the park, played it through to Son rushing into the box. You had Brennan Johnson screaming for it on his right hand side. The South Korean, though, decided to go on his own. In the end, it was saved by the kneecaps of the Bournemouth keeper Neto. Still Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0.
As the ball is played forward by Saka from a central position, but overhits that, sort of passed it on the fall, but looking for the run of Martinelli, but it was through to Leno to pick up.
Yeah, having to move a lot, Saka, out of his traditional position just to get hold of the ball and get on the ball.
Here's Robinson down the left-hand side, lands into his path, but his first-time cross actually is blocked by the body of Ben White, and it bounces out of play for a throw-in down the left to the American international Anthony Robinson, with the bleach blonde hair stacked up, takes the throw back towards Kearney and then back towards Bassey near the halfway line. Fulham moving it from this left-hand side over towards the right now, where Iwobi drops deep, drops just like his socks down his ankles. It's amazing how many players now have taken on that, isn't it? As Iwobi plays it back towards the halfway line, and Fulham will go from right to left. Bassey actually through the middle towards Kearney. His black socks up over his knees. Willian in a more central position now. Fulham again go back to the halfway line and start again.
You strike me as a man of sock up over the knee, John, not halfway down the shin.
And well, I might say the same about you, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely socked pulled up.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. And holes in socks or not?
No, don't get that one.
Yeah. Who was I looking at before the game? Saka has got massive holes in the back of his socks. It's amazing, these fads,
is that a circulatory
issue? Apparently, yeah. As Arsenal win the ball back, crossfield pass. Saka, holes or not, goes in on the challenge, but he's beaten to it by Bassey, and it is Fulham who play it forward. Willian now to Kearney. Kearney whips the ball right across, and it's in! It's the equaliser! Jimenez, right-footed, leaps into the air and punches the air too. Back in the team, back from suspension, and the Mexican scores his 5th of the season. And either side of that ban, that is now 4 in his last 4 appearances. And significantly for Fulham, with Jimenez back, they've got their first goal in 4 Premier League matches. Fulham 1, Arsenal 1.
Well, ever since the goal, I have to say, I've been really disappointed with Arsenal. They haven't got to grips with this game or really been pushing for another, and it's Fulham who are creating all the chances. It's a lovely sweeping move after Bassey wins the ball with a great tackle on Saka. It goes out to Willian, then into Kearney, who produces a brilliant left-footed first-time cross on the run. It really is a great cross from the left-hand side, whipped into the box. It's a difficult ball to defend, and Kivior at the back post cannot deal with it. Gets no touch on it. He doesn't even get his head up, Kearney. He just wants to hit an area, and there's Jimenez. Every good centre-forward will peel into that area, and he just punches the ball with his instep into the bottom of the net. It's a really good flowing goal from Fulham.
Excellent move, excellent. And the cross from Kearney as well. Well, Lord Robinson does down the left-hand side. That's a little bit of a lesson for Robinson. and Kearney just whipped it in. It was the perfect delivery.
Didn't even look, John. Didn't even look, didn't care who was in the box. He just wanted to hit an area knowing that that's a dangerous place to hit, and it was bang on the money.
And you're right, Kivior at the back post, whether he could have done more.
Just a touch. It's hard because as a defender recovering towards your own goal, you're always conscious you're going to get too much on the ball or make a mistake, and sometimes just a gentle touch or just any kind of nick just takes it off the eye line of the player coming in behind you and saves the chance. But he just wasn't able to get anything on the ball, and Jimenez, who, as we've already touched on, just looks far sharper, far more hungrier, more that kind of player that we're used to seeing, was there to comfortably just side put that one in the back of the net.
Or as Martinelli is challenged by Castagna, who protests about that, but I have to say it, that looked to my eyes for all the world like a foul, and it is a free kick, and Martinelli is just feeling that one.
He is. I mean, again, referee right on top of it, no yellow card.
Could have been.
Yeah, it's one of those tackles where it's coming from the side. I mean, it's a yellow card for me.
Yeah, me too.
He's done well to get away with that, Castagna. He's got a free hit there.
Yeah, I think his reaction maybe helped him. I can't believe that's been given as a free kick against me reaction. So the referee maybe just thinks, maybe. Did I see that? As Rice has it on the halfway line, comes in field towards Havertz, now out towards the left-hand side. So it is now Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. And for a long time, as Arsenal with Martinelli played up towards the edge of the box, it comes to the man who's just scored the goal for Fulham, but he's dispossessed by Martinelli, and now Odegaard, little pass to Saka. Oh, Robinson just got a touch and actually was trying to knock it round one side of him and take it away. It didn't work. Arsenal got it back, but then that breaks down on the edge of the Fulham penalty area, and then Jimenez is rolled over, and it is a free kick to the home side near the centre circle.
I mean, that right there from Anthony Robinson was a prime example of that change of direction and ability to stop and start. He's so dynamic to be able to cut that ball out. And the foul on Jimenez, Saliba coming in to win the ball, but he doesn't focus enough on the ball. He should just steal it from Jimenez. He's got the advantage, the Arsenal centre-back, but he just focused a little bit too much on the upper body contact. And it was clever from Jimenez how he just absorbed that and went to ground and wins that foul. It just relieves all that pressure off Fulham.
That is Matthew Upson, Premier League winner, England World Cup defender, who is alongside us here in this excellent position, quite a low position inside the Johnny Haynes stand as it is now. The statue is outside the ground, that lovely red brick and sandstone frontage of this stand that we're sitting in.
I don't mind the odd steel girder, do you?
No,
actually quite nice.
I'm happy to live with that.
Yeah.
Here's Odegaard. Now to the right-hand side. It's a lovely blend now of the old and the new, isn't it, with the new stand on the far side. Here's Saka moving in from the right-hand side, left-footed ball. Odegaard has a look from 25 yards, gives it to Havertz. Havertz under pressure, does well there. Excellent control to Martinelli on the left-hand side. Now back towards the edge of the box. Kivior, he gives it square. First-time touch from Rice. Odegaard back to Declan Rice again, who just rolls it out with his left foot again into the path of Martinelli, who crosses from the far side. Saka heads it back over. Odegaard tries to bring it down, and then Nketiah can't get a clean shot in. He managed to work it goalwards, but it was straight at Lena, who was able to drop on it.
I mean, that would have been very fortunate if Nketiah would have got hold of this one. It was a poor cross to the back post, really. Saka kept it alive, and then the ball just fell literally to Nketiah's feet off of a ricochet from a Fulham player. He swivels with his left foot, just doesn't get the contact he needs.
Mishit it.
Yep.
And deflected and through to the goalkeeper. So Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. We'll go back to White Hart Lane, the new White Hart Lane, in a moment or so. In fact, Arsenal have a throw in deep inside their own half, so let's bring in Mike Williams now.
Still Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0 here, John, but the home side forced into an early substitution. Pape Sarr went down and is unable to continue, had to be forced off, and he was visibly upset, had his head covered with his shirt as he walked off, clearly in tears, warm embraces from his teammates and his manager. You wonder if he now fears for his Africa Cup of Nations participation with Senegal next month. He's been replaced by Oliver Skipp, but Pape Sarr, the goal scorer here, of course, who gave them the lead earlier in this first half, ruled out with what looks like it could be a serious injury.
Oh dear, that's rough luck for him. He's been excellent when I've seen him this season, Pape Sarr. So Fulham 1, Arsenal 1 here on 5 Live. The Tottenham match is on Sports Extra if you've just switched on. There will be a 6:06, by the way, this afternoon, but at an unusual time, as Fulham play it forward. Here's Jimenez on the right-hand side. Jimenez catches up with it. He's got it in the full-back position. He's got Kivior with him. Jimenez then plays it back, and it has to go back through Iwobi to the halfway line. Bassey turns away from Odegaard. They enjoyed that behind us in the stand here. Bassey doing a bit of a Bergkamp on Odegaard.
That would be a bridge too far.
I think it's on. And here he is again. Look, there's another one. There's a Cruyff turn. He's gone from Bergkamp to Cruyff.
I don't like the reference of Bergkamp with any player, really. No. As you can probably tell from my reaction of the Odegaard one, but certainly not with the.
Is he the best
with
player?
Bassey? No disrespect to Bassey, but certainly not with that one.
Is Bergkamp the best player that you played with?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You'd put him ahead of Thierry Henry.
It's a tough call between the two. I think Henry maybe could potentially edge that, but Bergkamp, for his style, John, is just style. It was just
all about style.
Classy as.
And there is a classy turn from Havertz halfway inside his own half to get away from Dicko-Dova-Reid. He's still going, the German. On the left-hand side, puts his foot on the ball and now just pulls it back, just teases it back, a bit like Francis Lee. And then it comes into the centre circle to Rice. Rice through the middle, but in comes the challenge from Bassey, and Fulham have got it back. They've got a snap about them here. Well, it is a London derby, don't forget.
There's been more from Fulham in that sense. I've been disappointed with Arsenal in that kind of snapping, tackling, being able to get hold of the ball, getting possession. They look a little bit ragged, Arsenal, not able to cope with this kind of football from Fulham at the moment.
As Fulham attack down the left-hand side, 1-1 the score. Willian. He also drags the ball back with his foot and then passes it behind him to Robinson. And now Kearney, the man who set up the Fulham equaliser. What I was going to say was about Jimenez, the way that he took that away, and that's a misplaced pass from Bassey that Dicko-Dova-Reid, that Castagna does very well. Well, he didn't keep it in. It's a throw into Arsenal over on the far side. The chance for Jimenez that he scored, for a long time, those were opportunities like that Jimenez was not scoring.
Absolutely.
And you wondered, will he get it back?
Yeah, and also sometimes he wasn't scoring them because he just wasn't in that position. He wasn't kind of tuned in to have that kind of movement, to pick up that area of the pitch, to be in the right place at the right time. I think that's all just very slowly flooding back to him. He's had to be so patient. And I think so of Fulham as well, because there's such a key role in the team. You need goals from that number 9, and he's starting to produce them now.
Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. The breeze just picks up here. I wonder if there might be a shower not too far away. Dry at the moment. Here's Gabriel passing it through the middle, and Nketiah drops deep. It's a good chance that he had a few moments ago, in Nketiah, to put Arsenal back in front. Here is the man who scored the opening goal, Saka, down the line, right-footed cross, but that's over everyone. Cheers from the Fulham supporters as it bounces harmlessly for Fulham, out of play for a throw-in in their own right-back area. It's an announcement just now for the spectators in this stand. There'll be, I'm not entirely sure what. They were talking about the external areas are not open. I'm not sure where the external areas
can't
are.
Get out.
Well, anyway, but it is unique, isn't it, down below here? It's so tight and narrow, all painted white and black. It's full of character.
I went into the toilet earlier, and you could probably not fit more than 3 people in that toilet. I wouldn't want to try at half time.
Odegaard is fouled by Kearney, and it's a free kick just forward to the left. I know the one you mean, because there's a whole range of toilets. Yeah. People will be interested to hear the toilets at Craven Cottage, but it's even a pleasure. Those lovely black gloss painted wooden doors on the toilets here.
It's not that bad a game though, John, is it?
No, it's not.
We need to fill it with toilet chat.
No, toilet talk. Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. Less toilet talk from you, Matt Upson. Won't be asked back. Here's Odegaard, forward of the centre circle with this free kick, and the Fulham fans are getting on to Arsenal here, and this is sending out the right message. This from the supporters saying, come on, we want to get on with this game, we want to beat Arsenal here, just like West Ham did the other night. So Odegaard waiting to take this, raising his arm, movement on the edge of the box. Odegaard plays it in, Kivior was after it, headed away by Adebayo, then the shot which is blocked from Martinelli across the penalty area, and Saka goes down. I'm not sure how much contact there was from Jimenez, who plays the ball back into his own penalty area, very nearly gave it away. Bassey cleared it, Robinson as well, and then the referee's given a free kick for presumably a foul on Bassey.
Wow.
Saka is complaining. It's a free kick to Fulham.
Well, Fulham were having a good go at trying to give Arsenal the ball back in their own 18-yard box. I think the shove on Saka probably is a bit of a shove from Jimenez, but because Saka had the momentum of his body weight going out of the pitch, he kind of went down with it, and linesman right in front of it wasn't buying it. He's probably made the right decision.
He has now got him. He's not getting a reputation. He has now got himself a reputation for going down too easily, Bukayo Saka. And there's a foul for a free kick for a foul on Eddie Nketiah on the halfway line for Arsenal. How justified do you think that is for Saka? Because the other side of that is he has received some incredibly rough, hard treatment from some teams that he's played against.
I mean, I see a mixture from him. I see a mixture where he's incredibly strong with the ball, which I think he is. He's got that low centre of gravity. When he's planted, he's got strong hips, and he can really hold players off and punch above his weight. And I see him do that when he bounces. He makes that initial contact. So he's quite an aggressive wide player, and he'll sometimes instigate that contact to protect the ball, and he does it really, really well. And then there's moments like that where he just goes down a little bit too easy. There's a mixed bag. And I can understand it because he gets kicked a lot.
But opposing crowds, I've noticed, have really turned against Saka. They love him when he's playing for England. The England fans, that is. But Bukayo Saka has scored the goal. Such an effective, such an important player for club and country. If Arsenal are going to do things in 2024, then Saka will be right at the heart of that. And of course he is their leading scorer with 9 goals this season. Fulham 1, Arsenal 1, approaching half-time. That'll be the case also over at Tottenham with you, Mike Williams.
Yeah, we've got 4 minutes to go here. Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0 still, but it's been all Bournemouth actually in the last few minutes or so in the pouring rain here in North London. Just a moment ago, Marcus Tavernier's curling free kick looked like it was goal bound, took a deflection off Richarlison in the wall though and out for a corner, which possibly saved an equaliser for the visitors. Still Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0.
Raining in North London, dry here in West London, next to the Thames, although I did tell you, well, I said rain was on the way. Kivior playing it back towards the halfway line. I hope it's not rain like I experienced last night driving from Nottingham to Leicester, which was, anyone who experienced that, I cannot remember driving in rain like that for such a long time. Arsenal, Rice through to Odegaard. Now a sliding effort from Martinelli between the penalty spot and the edge of the area that was not far wide. It just rolled wide of the foot of the left post as he arrived.
Yeah, well, he's laying flat on his back in the 18-yard box, just peeling himself up off the turf because he knows that was close, really close. Saka on the ball into Rice, into Odegaard, and Martinelli had crept inside the pitch and was pretty much bang along the centre line of the pitch on the edge of the 18-yard box, and he's tried to let the ball roll across his body onto his left foot and then guide it into the far post. He very nearly got it spot on. It was a difficult skill, I have to say, just to get that perfect, but it's probably nearly glanced that far post, maybe just wide of it. Good effort from him.
Yeah, just inches, centimetres,
very close,
millimetres wide. And it is a goal kick. Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. One of the weather apps, Rob Nothman's weather app, says it will start raining in 1 minute.
Oh, it's very accurate.
Well, is it? Here's White, who's on the ball. They are variable, aren't they, those weather apps?
Sun's out, John.
Sun's out.
Can't rain, can it?
Here's Kivior in a central position, but Kearney steps in. Fulham play it forward. Adebayo to Iwobi. And then given away by Cordova-Reid, and Arsenal are onto it. It's Havertz who's carrying it forward. Here's Odegaard, 25 yards out, but in comes the challenge. Good, excellent from Bassi. Bassi really stepped in, tackled Odegaard, took the ball away from him, and then he takes the ball on and away over the halfway line. Gives it back though to Cordova-Reid. Fulham are thinking of maybe taking the lead before half-time. We're in the 44th minute. Here's Willian, just slows the ball to walking pace, and he gives it to Robinson. Down to our left, Rice shouts for handball against him. Rice then jumps into the tackle, but Fulham are back in possession in the centre circle again. Here's Adebayo, who's going to try a shot from 35 yards, maybe 40 yards, that, let's say, didn't threaten the goal. It was wide by about 12 yards.
I don't think anyone in the crowd, when he lined that one up, was optimistic that was going to end up in the top corner. It was a long way out with the ball running away from him there. Adarabioyo, surprised he took the option of shooting.
So it remains Fulham 1, Arsenal 1, and it's been a decent contest, I would say. Here's Martinelli, set up the opening goal in the 5th minute. Martinelli plays it across the field beyond White, and Willian is in there ahead of Saka, and it's Willian who takes it away from Saka, who's back with him, who does catch him, Saka, but Willian, though, does well. Right footed ball to the edge of the area, that is headed down and away by Saliba. Rice is then put under pressure by Willian. Back to Gabriel, who just chips it out to Rice, but Odegaard's in danger of losing possession. However, Martinelli's able to keep it for Arsenal, and then in goes Jimenez to put a tackle in, and the ball eventually rolls out of play over on the far side for a throw-in to Arsenal.
Well, that right there shows you exactly where Fulham are at. They lose the ball, and straight away their instinct is all 4 or 5 white shirts in and around it. It's let's hunt it back, let's win it. They've been very much like that in this first half. I've been impressed with how they've reacted out of possession, trying to make life difficult for Arsenal, not allowing them to settle on the ball at all.
That was actually given us a free kick for the challenge by Jimenez, so Arsenal have taken it and then immediately have got the ball down the right-hand side. Odegaard plays it in. That was at waist height for Bassi, just got his body in the way, blocked it out of the penalty area, and then up to Jimenez. Willian puts the challenge in, plays it forward. Jimenez chasing after it, but Raya was onto that out of his penalty area, volleyed it away downfield to the halfway line, and then 4 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. 1-1 the score. Tottenham still winning 1-0 in the Sports Extra commentary match. Odegaard gets the ball out and through to Nketiah, shoots from the angle but well wide, under pressure from Bassi, and that meant that he shot well wide of the near post as he looked at it.
Yeah, nice take from Nketiah, lets the ball roll across his body down the channel onto his right foot, but never going to be able to get the shot off, always under pressure from Bassi, who just leant on him a little bit. Angle was really tight.
Tom Kearney looks as though he might have a problem, although he gets to his feet, doesn't need treatment, so they'll see how he is at half-time, no doubt. But it is a goal kick to Fulham to restart play. So Saka opening the scoring for Arsenal, Jimenez making it 1-1, and with this scoreline Arsenal would not be top of the Premier League at New Year. Statistically, the leaders at New Year have gone to win the Premier League. In fact, let me ask you that question in case you don't know it. In the last 14 seasons, how many times have the leaders at New Year gone on to win the Premier League title? In the last 14 seasons, how many times, Matthew Upson?
I thought you were asking everyone there just for callers in to text in if you can. How many times?
Go on, just for fun.
I would say 9.
Correct. Spot on.
Well, I've done my homework, John.
Yeah. Did you know that?
No, it's a pure guess.
Honestly?
Pure guess.
Here's Rice to Saka on the right-hand side. Doesn't reflect well that I didn't trust you.
I had a little glance
Saka.
at your notes earlier.
Saka plays the ball in. Odegaard now with a cross from the right-hand side. That's gone a long way to Martinelli, who gets the ball down, runs away out towards the left flank. 2 Fulham players pairing after him. That's typical. That's typical of Fulham in the first half. They've got a real hunger about them to put this Premier League losing streak behind them. And at the moment, it is 1-1, and they've chased Arsenal all the way back.
You'd say more of a hunger than Arsenal? I would. I think the way they've gone about this game, that's the one thing I've been disappointed from Arsenal, really, after going 1-0 up, then to raise that tempo. You go 1-0 up away from home so early, you've almost got to raise the tempo again, go again, push harder. For me, they've just kind of settled a little bit, and it just hasn't had that kind of intensity.
Yeah. And they have. It's been very much a go, push harder style approach from Fulham in this first half, and you know the body language says a lot about that as well. Here's Rice, will have a goal from the angle, but sent it swirling high over the top of the crossbar into the Hammersmith end, and we are now in the 4th minute of added time at the end of this first half, and Declan Rice just retreats back into the centre circle. Goal kick for Leno to take, and just a little gentle hubbub inside the Johnny Haynes stand as people move down into the tight areas down below. A lovely little sort of souvenir shop I noticed today that I'd never seen before down there as well.
Key ring?
Not today, no, not today. And there we are. There is the half-time whistle as Leno delivers the goal kick over the halfway line, and off they all come in that rather messy way that there is here at at Fulham as the players and all of the dozens of coaches have to walk diagonally across the pitch towards the dressing rooms to our left. But 1-1, and it, as I say, Matt Upson, has been a decent contest.
It has been a good contest. Really bright start from Arsenal in terms of their quality of counter-attack. Fulham really caught cold with Castagna advancing really high down the right-hand side. But since that moment where you'd expect Arsenal looking to get top of the table, win a Premier League title, you've almost got to raise that bar again and keep pushing, kill that game off. That hasn't happened at all. It's been all Fulham. They've been pressing, they've had great body language, as you've mentioned, John, the intensity, the way they've pressed, they've got the ball wide, they've crossed it, put Arsenal under pressure, and fully deserve to be level in this game.
Marco Silva, the Fulham coach, in his black insulated jacket, was walking across the pitch there as a cameraman. Right in front of him and Tom Kearney, Marco Silva with his hand over his mouth, of course, talking to Tom Kearney. They'll want to check that he's okay after he took that knock just before half-time. But we weren't able to lip read what it was that Marco Silva was saying, unfortunately. So at half-time here, it is Fulham 1, Arsenal 1.
And Matty Upson, Arsenal lightning on the counter-attack, but they just couldn't withstand that Fulham pressure.
Yeah, it was a lot, wasn't it? I thought Fulham really didn't react badly to going 1 goal down. If anything, they became a little bit more confident, a little bit more aggressive, raised the tempo. And like I mentioned, I've just been disappointed with Arsenal not really getting control of the game like we usually do see them in terms of possession and territory, penning Fulham in and having all that possession in and around their box. That hasn't happened in this first half at all. I think Mikel Arteta will be having some stern words with his players about wanting a little bit more from them if they're going to get something more out of this game.
And John, is it as easy for me to say that the defending simply was not good enough for the Fulham equaliser, though they were pushing?
Yeah, you know, Matt mentioned it at the time. You know, is it harsh to call out Kivior, who was at the back post, tried to sweep it away? I mean, these are moments, aren't they?
Yeah, you'd feel responsible.
Yep. As
a centre-back or a left-back in that position. Your job, defend the back post. I thought it was a brilliant ball from Kearney. And, you know, sometimes you have to really credit attacking play, making life difficult for the defender, because he's just whipped it bang in the perfect area. But that back post you have to make your own, and it's Jimenez that made it his.
What will Mikel Arteta hone in on in his half-time tea talk, Matt?
For me, I think it's the intensity, Aaron. I think it's the body language, it's the purpose, it's Arsenal having more about them in this second half to think we want to win a Premier League title. We've got to raise this tempo. We can't just be passive. We've got to be in more control of the ball.
Was there a tiny touch of complacency? Taking an early lead, coming here against a Fulham team that everyone knows has lost 3 Premier League matches in a row. You know, maybe that's something that he'll get into them about.
Possibly, but there's no room for that, John, is there? Nope. You know, look at the competition at this level at the moment is just so intense. There's no room for that kind of complacency if that has been the case.
An interesting second half on the way in our final Premier League Sunday commentary of 2023. Fulham against Arsenal. It's currently 1-1 at the Cottage. We'll be back with John Murray and Matty Upson for the second half momentarily. But first, let's get the latest from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Not yet at half-time, Mike Williams.
Approaching the 8th minute of injury time at the end of this first half, Aaron. Bournemouth have a second corner in straight succession. This one, though, a complete waste and goes straight out of play for a Spurs goal kick, which will surely bring the half-time whistle from the lips of referee Simon Hooper. It remains here, Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0. Tottenham just about good value for this lead that they have, given to them by Pape Sarr, his second of the season. He capitalised on some space just in front of the Bournemouth back line and let fly from the edge of the box with a low shot which nestled into the bottom left-hand corner of Neto's goal. But it was bittersweet for Pape Sarr. The Senegalese midfielder later went down with an injury and couldn't continue. He was visibly upset, tears streaming down his face. His participation in next month's Africa Cup of Nations now looks in serious doubt. Spurs could have doubled their lead when Son had the goal at his mercy, but instead shot straight at the keeper Neto's legs. That their only real chance of note in the first half. As for Bournemouth, well, they got better as this first 45 continued and have actually just had their best chance a few moments ago. We're still playing here, by the way, 54 minutes almost on the clock here in North London. No half-time whistle coming yet, but that chance chance in injury time fell to who else? Dominic Solanke, the main man for Bournemouth. He, remember, had 8 goals in 7 coming into this match as the half-time whistle finally is blown here. Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0. But that chance for Solanke, it started with Sinisterra, who found some space in the box, pinged it back to Solanke, who hit the ball into the ground. It looped over the Spurs defence and bounced off the bar and out for a corner. That the best chance for Bournemouth, but in their red-hot form, despite trailing here at the break, they will not count themselves out of this one. Half-time here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0.
So half-times on the final 5 Live Premier League Sunday of 2023, and as Mike mentioned there, Spurs a goal to the good up on AFC Bournemouth. Fulham 1, Arsenal 1 is the half-time score from Craven Cottage in our other game. We'll be back for the second halves in both of those, but first here at the time at 2:55 on 5 Live, it's time for the latest BBC News with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron says he's made it clear to Iran that it shares responsibility for preventing attacks in the Red Sea by a rebel group which it supports. The US Navy says a container ship was targeted by Houthi rebels from Yemen for the second time in 24 hours. The group's been attacking ships since November, which has prompted many firms to reroute their vessels. President Putin says Russia will never back down as he addressed the nation in a New Year's Eve speech. Moscow attacked Ukraine overnight. Kyiv says it destroyed almost half the drones launched by Russia. XL bully dogs have to be muzzled and kept on a lead in public places in England and Wales from today. As new restrictions come into force, breeding, selling or abandoning the dogs has also become illegal. In response to a spate of attacks on people in recent years, the rules don't apply in Scotland or Northern Ireland. Dr Sam Gaines from the RSPCA thinks targeting certain types of dogs isn't the right approach.
We completely agree that urgent action absolutely is needed to keep people safe. But unfortunately, we don't believe that this sort of approach is going to be effective. And, there are other ways that we absolutely could keep people safe from dogs. For example, just clamping down on irresponsible breeding, illegal breeding, and also just ensuring that where there are dogs whose behaviour is a cause of concern, early intervention is taken.
The Australian journalist, writer and filmmaker John Pilger has died at the age of 84. During a long career, he covered the aftermath of Pol Pot's regime in Cambodia and also investigated the thalidomide birth defect scandal. He was also a well-known human rights campaigner. And Eurostar trains have begun running normally to and from London St Pancras again. Yesterday, all services were cancelled because of flooding in one of the tunnels. Engineers say millions of gallons of water have been pumped out since Friday, and both tunnels are now operational again.
BBC 5 Live.
The voice of sport 2024
on 5 Live
and 5 Sports Extra.
Coming soon.
The Olympic and Paralympic Games. Euro 2024. The ICC T20 World Cups.
Down it comes lunches. This has gone many a mile.
And much more.
Don't miss a moment. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Aaron Paul.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Yeah, welcome back to 5 Live's Premier League Sunday half-time in the 2 games in the capital. Fulham 1, Arsenal 1 is the latest in our commentary game here on 5 Live from Craven Cottage. Over on Radio 5 Sports Extra, there's coverage of Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0. That one also at half-time. We'll be back with the second halves in a moment or two. But first, now the football news this afternoon. Luton Town captain Tom Lockyer has released an update on social media for the first time since suffering a cardiac arrest at Bournemouth earlier this month. He says he's doing very well and thanks players, staff, doctors and paramedics for their actions on the day. He adds that he doesn't know if he'll return to playing, but will meet with specialists in the new year. Fleetwood Town have appointed Charlie Adam as the club's new head coach. He replaces Lee Johnson, who was sacked yesterday following 9 games without a win. Fleetwood are currently 23rd in League One, 5 points from safety. To tennis, Great Britain lost 2-1 to the USA in their final group game of the United Cup in Australia. Katie Boulter beat Jessica Pegula to put GB 1-0 up before Taylor Fritz beat Cam Norrie, with the US then winning the deciding doubles match. GB now need Australia to beat the USA 2-1 on Monday to stand a chance of progressing to the quarterfinals in Perth. To rugby, there's one game in the Gallagher Premiership this afternoon. Leicester Tigers hosting Bath. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock. Sarah Orchard is at Welford Road. Afternoon, Sarah.
Good afternoon. And you might just hear, Aaron, that Leicester are coming out onto the pitch as I speak to you.
Brilliant. Love the atmosphere. Thanks for joining us this New Year's Eve. Now, Bath, they were top of the table at Christmas. They're flying this season.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
really
there would be no better or more nostalgic place for Bath to advance their own developing title credentials than at Welford Road.
Well, you know what? You said nostalgia there. And this fixture about Leicester and Bath, for many fans, this is the fixture of the season. However, that's all based on a rivalry from these two that, goes back 15, 20 years ago when they were both at the top of their game. Now, Leicester have had many glory days since then. Bath have had so many false dawns. However, you do feel now that under their new head coach, I should say, Johan van Graan, they're finally turning that corner. You do feel that they are definitely Premiership contenders once again. It's been a long wait, though, hence why there is so much hype in the build-up to this fixture every time they play.
Take me to the team news, because none of Bath's big-name players have travelled today.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Everything I've just said is still true. However, today Bath, they've arrived here at the Mattioli Woods Welford Road Stadium with a completely reshuffled team. So there's no Finn Russell, there's no Ben Spencer, there's no Joe Cocker-Singer. It's so strange. Then I think they've got 12 changes to the starting 15 to the side that beat Harlequins last time out. Now, the argument here is you've got to rotate your side at some point in the season. January, it's a long stretch of the Premiership in Europe before that big Six Nations break, but it is sold out here at the stadium. You must feel for Leicester fans that they wanted to see a prime Bath team turn up to take on their side. They just have not got that today.
Where are we with Leicester? They brought Dan McKellar in the summer. They had won 5 games in a row in all competitions. That was their run before they lost to Exeter last weekend. Where are we in their project and what they're doing this season?
It's a really interesting one because we've got this shortened Premiership season, and I mean that because there's only 10 teams in the league. We're over halfway through, and there's two sort of parts of the table. At the moment, you've got that top 6, and then you've got 4 teams beneath that, and there's a gap opening up, and Leicester are in the wrong end of that. They're in that bottom 4. They need to get wins. They need to get them quickly as the ball just comes out of play from a charge down. Leicester, they're just going to get a line out now, not too far from the Bath 22. But it's all about Leicester. They have got to start making this click under Dan McKellar. If not, they are going to return after the Six Nations, and they're going to have a torrid time of sort of March and April playing dead rubbers, and nobody wants to see that in rugby.
Tell me about the game yesterday, the standout game yesterday. We watched a fight back from Northampton to beat Sale 21-17 and go top of the Premiership as things stand.
Yeah, do you know what? Northampton, they're the 3rd club in 3 days to actually top the Premiership table, such as the congested nature I was just talking about the table. But still, brilliant result for the Saints against what has been a really good Sale outfit this season, flying for most of the season. And it was Sale, they were 14-0 up in the second half before Saints. All of a sudden, they had this huge fight back. Much of that credit had to go to the likes of the backs, Alex Mitchell, George Furbank. They just worked out where that space was on the pitch to get them up the field, over the line. And yeah, a big moment for them, but if Bath win here today at Leicester, they could be back at the top of the table, having started at the start of this long New Year's weekend. It's going to be fascinating, but yeah, good win for the Saints at least.
And very quickly, the atmosphere sounds absolutely cracking there. The crowd responsive to Leicester's efforts.
Yeah, definitely. It's sold out here for New Year's Eve. And I have to say, across the Premiership this weekend, it has been sellouts everywhere. We've been told by the league organisers that this has been the most attended Premiership weekend in the build-up to Christmas they've ever seen. And they've added together all of the attendances. And that includes when we've had 12 teams in the league. And considering that there's only 10 teams now, that's quite significant. They've been slightly boosted by the fact that anyone who was in the London area yesterday would have known that Harlequins actually played at Twickenham yesterday. And they had 77,000 packed in there for their big Christmas fixture that they lay on. But yeah, the Premiership has been certainly well attended and enjoyed as they build towards 2024.
Sarah, thank you. Happy New Year to you. Enjoy Welford Road. It sounds great there. By the way, after the football this evening, 6:06 on air at the earlier time of 5 o'clock tonight with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. 08085 909 693, the number to call to have your say on the UK's biggest football debate. Just looking at pictures from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Daniel Levy with a smile on his face and applauding Hugo Lloris, currently being interviewed by Tottenham's Paul Coyte on the pitch ahead of his move to the MLS. Also on my screens at Craven Cottage, I'm seeing Takahiro Tomiyasu go through the final stages of a warm-up. Let's head back to Craven Cottage. John Murray, our football correspondent, is alongside Matty Upson. Matty, expected change?
I don't think it's unexpected, to be honest. I mean, I didn't know there was going to be a change or really feel like that, but you felt that something had to happen at half-time. So it doesn't surprise me that Tomiyasu's on, who's been in pretty good form for Arsenal when he has been playing, and Kivior from left back has come off. So I assume Tomiyasu would just slip across to that left-hand side and pick up that left-back position.
And do you know what? We're gonna before we hand back to you, we're gonna head back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Mike, what kind of reception did Hugo Lloris get?
Well, he's currently enjoying it, Aaron. I feel I almost have to talk in hushed tones here because Hugo Lloris currently on the pitch being interviewed by the Spurs announcer here, and almost everyone, to a man and woman here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, is in silence, listening to their former number one, who has been the goalkeeper here for over a decade, 11 years at the club in total. Applause now starting to ring out as Lloris, I think, starts to wrap up this interview. He's on the big screen here, big image next to him saying "Merci Hugo," with pictures of Lloris during his playing career. Ledley King coming on the pitch now, currently another Spurs ambassador, of course, about to present Lloris with some sort of commemorative, what would he be getting? Some gloves, perhaps, a dish, who knows? But of course, Hugo Lloris, 7th on the all-time appearance Spurs list. I've just been listening to some of his interviews. He says it's impossible to pick out a highlight, but he did want to thank all the Spurs fans for many, many special memories. Of course, he's heading to Los Angeles FC, which is not a bad way to see out your career, is it, Aaron?
Not at all. Radio 5 Sports Extra for Spurs versus Bournemouth here on 5 Live. Though it's back to Craven Cottage. They're underway for the second half. I leave you in the company of Matty Upson and football correspondent John Murray.
Yes, thank you, Aaron. It's not Los Angeles, but it is Craven Cottage, so it's a lovely place to be on New Year's Eve. It is Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. It is a good contest. Second half is underway. Takahiro Tomiyasu has made his comeback after 6 matches out with a calf injury, and he's taken over from Kivior, so he is playing at left back. So that is the one change at half-time. Run you through the teams in full, but Iwobi is running into referee Smith, and Arsenal might take advantage here. Rice chips the ball across to Martinelli, takes it down on his thigh. Martinelli curls it right across the face of goal and beyond the far post. And I think the most relieved man there is referee Josh Smith, who has apologised for impeding Iwobi. And if that had ended up in the net, that would have been embarrassing for him.
He showed good strength there, the referee, didn't he, just to withstand that challenge from Iwobi. Bounced him to the floor, but no, it's another opportunity for me, for Arsenal, that just hasn't been executed particularly well. It's not been really dealt with in terms of Martinelli's finish. Just wasn't quite up to standard. It was well wide and not enough of a threat from me.
I think Marco Silva is asking the 4th official, Tim Robinson, why play wasn't stopped. Here come Fulham though. Robinson crossing from the left-hand side, but that bounces out to the edge of the area. Jimenez is onto that, ahead of Gabriel. Now here is Iwobi, left foot shot, but it was blocked. Rice just put a foot in and took the pace off that, and Arsenal were able to clear to the halfway line.
Isn't it just with the ball, John? If the referee touches the ball, it's stopped. And he didn't actually touch the ball, did he? He just body checked the player accidentally.
Yeah, well, it did look as though Marco Silva was just checking.
Yeah.
He's like most Premier League managers, he's no stranger to a yellow card, Marco Silva, this season.
Who isn't nowadays?
Most of them have stacked up any number of yellow cards. So Fulham, as the BBC World Service listeners, join us here for this final Premier League commentary match of 2023. So welcome to you. I hope you're all, wherever you are, enjoying your Christmas and festive period. It is Fulham 1, Arsenal 1, after Arsenal took the lead through Bukayo Saka early on in the match. A good save from Leno from a Martinelli ball across the penalty area, but Sacco scored, and then Raúl Jiménez equalised, and it is Fulham who are attacking. Cross from the right-hand side from Cordova-Reid. Gabriel goes down inside the box. Castagna into the challenge. Referee Josh Smith says that's not a foul. That is a corner to Fulham from the right-hand side.
Yeah, good play from Fulham. They've started this second half in a similar fashion, but they finished the first. They look hungry. They're pouncing on any kind of loose ball and just getting wide areas really high up the pitch. Castagna and Robinson both on the overlap and really pushing Arsenal back.
Corner then to Fulham. Willian takes it, headed away on the edge of the penalty area for Arsenal by Tomiyasu. And Arsenal in the green shirts, these unfamiliar green shirts with the dark blue sleeves, blue shorts, white socks. They're attacking from right to left towards the Putney end. Here's Nketiah on the left-hand side, but in slides the challenge of Castagna. Well in, shouts somebody behind us. And the ball is tackled out of play for a throw-in down the left-hand side. Fulham, who have Leno in goal, Castagna, Adarabioyo, Bassi and Robinson, Palhinha and Kearney, Di Cordova-Reid, Iwobi, Willian and Jimenez, the goal scorer on the pitch. The Arsenal side in a moment. But first, Tomiyasu takes this throw, gets it back on the left-hand side, and then back to Rice, and then it goes infield towards William Saliba, who looks to his right, turns to his left, then goes back out to the right again to Bukayo Saka. Saka is forced away by Robinson, and then it's back to the halfway line. So Arsenal with Raya in goal. The back four is now White, Saliba, Gabriel and substitute Tomiyasu. Odegaard, Rice and Havertz, the midfield three. Saka, Nketiah and Martinelli, the front three. So Jesus on the substitutes bench today, which was a little bit of a surprise. We weren't expecting that necessarily. And Eddie Nketiah did have a chance in the first half, Matt Upson, but wasn't able to take it.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had much opportunity, has he? I mean, the chance fell to him. There was a lot of bodies around it, but in terms of creativity and creating goal-scoring opportunities, Fulham just look far more threatening for me. They're able to stretch Arsenal a little bit, get some space, get down the channels, crosses into the box, get Arsenal running back towards their own goal, and there hasn't been much of that from Arsenal. There's been a slow, patient build-up, but it just allows Fulham to get back in position, and they're just dealing with Arsenal at the moment, not really getting caught.
Kearney is caught in possession, but he's actually been fouled by Odegaard. Palhinha it is, who's caught in possession by Odegaard, but who did foul him. So it's a free kick to Fulham halfway inside their own half. So we've got Tottenham-Bournemouth underway in the second half as well. Tottenham leading Bournemouth by 1-0. That's the Sports Extra commentary match. And just underway in the Premiership, where Leicester are taking on Bath. Sarah Orchard.
It's Leicester 0, Bath 7. 10 minutes on the clock. An early try for Lewis Schroeder for Bath. Intercepted inside of his own half. Trotted down the end of the field to touchdown. Orlando Bailey with the extras. It is Leicester 0, Bath 7.
24,444 people inside Craven Cottage for this Premier League match on the last day of 2023, and Arsenal playing the ball back to goalkeeper Raya, who comes out and sweeps the ball across field. He very nearly swept it straight to Iwobi.
Yeah, it was a great ball in the end though, wasn't it?
It was.
Absolutely inch perfect from David Raya.
The capacity inside this ground will be much greater next season when the Riverside stand is finally fully open.
What will it be, John?
Good question. My guess would be it would be over 30,000.
Okay.
Here's Odegaard down the right-hand side, cuts back onto his left foot, just taps it back to Rice. Now to the right-hand side, and the cross from White, but he's put too much on that. It flies away diagonally over the top of the crossbar. Leno just raises his arm, but he knew it was flying over the top. And it is Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. And there will be a Monday night club tomorrow, but there will also be a 5 Live Sport tomorrow afternoon, because there's a busy programme of matches, Championship, League 1, League 2. So Aaron will be back on air at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon with all of the news, all of the updates. Monday Night Club with Steve Crossman tomorrow night. Chris Sutton, Glenn Murray and Rory Smith will be on that. There'll be updates on Liverpool against Newcastle. And also 5 Live tomorrow night, 10 o'clock. Gordon Smart's new programme begins. So a new start for the new year with Gordon Smart presenting the late night programme during the course of the week, and Colin Murray moving to Friday afternoon and Sunday morning. So listen out to that, and good luck, Gordon. Here is Odegaard on the right hand side for Arsenal, then back into the centre circle to Tomiyasu being put under pressure by Jimenez, but Tomiyasu was strong, stood up to that.
Yes, that harassing of Fulham again. Jimenez this time just putting the pressure on Tomiyasu, who I don't think you can play left back for Arsenal unless you play centre midfield as well, because that just appears to come with that position. I mean, him also playing inside the pitch and picking up a midfield role whenever Arsenal have the ball, and this left side of the pitch is then filled by Gabriel.
It is Arsenal moving the ball from right to left, and the pass from Saka was actually short to Gabriel, and so Di Cordova-Reid was able to step in there, and now it's Castagna. He's all energy as well, wins the throw in just down in front of us here of Havertz. Tomiyasu, before his injury, had a run in the team. He'd started 6 matches So, he's been quite an important part when he's been fit.
He has done very well. I mean, he was keeping Ben White out of the team in the right-back position. I know he played a couple of those at the left-back spot, but generally in the right-back position, you'd say that he was in that position where he was Arsenal's number one. And the injuries have obviously set him back and cost Arsenal as well in terms of not being able to play him. And Ben White has got back in the team and in a good rhythm again. But certainly when he's playing consecutive games, Tomiyasu is a good player and looking to be certainly in the starting 11 in that right-back slot if he's fit.
Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. Breezy conditions here at Craven Cottage. Willian steps in from the left-hand side, but Arsenal win it back. Odegaard is in there, Saka as well. Still inside his own half and naturally goes back into his own territory. Breezy but still dry. Still waiting for that rain that was 1 minute away about 25 minutes ago. Here is Rice. Come on Fulham is the shout from the home supporters. Ball with Saka over there on the far side, but again goes back into his own half. Fulham extremely well drilled here by Marco Silva. Marco Silva, the sixth longest serving manager in the Premier League. It's over 2.5 years in charge now for Marco Silva. Brought the team up from the Championship, remember, kept them up easily, finishing mid-table last season, 10th place. And now a cup semi-final, a League Cup semi-final for the first time in the club's history to look forward to next month with the second leg against Liverpool here at Craven Cottage. You'll hear all of those semi-final matches, the commentary on 5 Live next month in the new year. Arsenal in possession, playing it out to the right-hand side. Arsenal with White, Saka, then Rice stretches in, got it on the edge of the penalty area. Then back to Tomiyasu. Centrally, Tomiyasu's poor ball to the edge of the area. Castagna was able to step in, but Arsenal win it back from Jimenez. Now it's out to the left-hand side to Martinelli. Martinelli up against Castagna. Whoa, what a gust of wind that was. Paper flying all over the place in front of it. As Fulham win it back and decode overs. Reed's ball downfield doesn't reach Jimenez. Saliba was able to step across.
I don't know if that gust of wind put Martinelli off for a moment there, John.
Put me off.
Miscontrolled the ball or just not quite doing enough with the ball, but Arsenal not finding any of those kind of wow moments in this game so far. You just need the kind of quality or slickness of passing. They've not got that bounce of one touch little triangles in and around the edge of the 18-yard box at all, and they just resorted to hitting balls like the one that's just been hit from Gabriel, which just skipped harmlessly out of play for a goal kick. They haven't been in the territory to really move Fulham or toy with Fulham at all, which you usually see Arsenal do. It has been, even against West Ham, you saw them moving West Ham, creating opportunities, although they didn't score, but they just looked a threat. Today it just has looked a bit flat in the attacking sense.
It has. Fulham 1, Arsenal 1 in these tricky conditions. As Jimenez chests it down nicely and gives it back to Iwobi, who then finds decode over Reed, and he whips one into the penalty area. Jimenez throwing himself at it, but Gabriel actually watched it carefully and just headed it up over his own crossbar.
Yeah, big header from Gabriel. He had to get his head on the end of this. Castagna makes a brilliant run inside the pitch, takes the Declan Rice away, who's going to go and block the cross, and it's a whipped ball in. Jimenez right behind Gabriel, just waiting to head that one in the back of the net. It was a good touch from the centre-back.
So to our right, in front of the Hammersmith end, Fulham fans there, expectant. Willian with the corner, and outswinger towards the penalty spot. Palhinha tried to get his body onto it, but some contact, but Arsenal are able to clear away. And then Iwobi gets in ahead of Martinelli, turns it forward. Nice ball from Castagna to Willian. Now Kearney, he's moving in from the right-hand side, lays it back out to the right. Willian, first-time cross, and Tomiyasu is underneath that to head it behind for another corner to Fulham. This is their best spell of the second half.
Yeah, Fulham again, turning over the ball, winning it back, and not just happy to have the ball, they're then pressing forward straight away, cross into the box, and there's 3-4 white Fulham shirts arriving. Kearney from midfield as well.
Let's see what Willian can do with this one then. Corner from the right. The players, referee Josh Smith is just waiting. Then there's the whistle. So Willian is ready to take this now. The score 1-1, as it says on the big board above that end of the ground. In it comes, headed across the face of goal, bounces down, it's in! It's stabbed in! And Bobby decodes over Reed, pounces in the 6-yard box. It rattled around after the corner, And Arsenal are in trouble again here. Lost to West Ham in the week, now losing here at Craven Cottage. And they might be missing their chance to go to the top of the Premier League again. Fulham 2, Arsenal 1.
Well, this is fast turning into a disaster for Arsenal. Not able to deal with the set play. It's a real hash, really, of clearing the ball. I think it's Paulinho wins the initial contact, or Castagna maybe, and then it's just a ricochet in the box. There's bodies everywhere. A swipe of the leg from Gabriel to try and clear it, and then flicks onto Tomiyasu, drops at the feet of Bobby De Cordova-Reid that has the simplest of tasks, which is just basically hit the target. He's 6 yards out, he blasts it into the back of the net. Such a scruffy goal to concede from Arsenal's point of view, but Fulham, they've earned this goal. They've earned the territory and the situation of this corner by being more aggressive, more positive. They've just got more about their play in this game, and this is a massive test for Arsenal now.
Bobby De Cordova-Reid. It was not a thing of great beauty. That will not be a contender for goal of the season. I mean, the number of ricochets in there after it was initially headed across the air. It came off Rice.
Yep.
It came off Tomiyasu.
Yep.
And another Arsenal player, Gabriel, and fell at the feet of De Cordova-Reid, who stabbed it into the goal. But so now we've got a real situation on our hands here for Arsenal.
It's that decide, you lose the first contact, first issue for Arsenal. Then the second one, you're not reacting to deal with the ball. It's a swipe from Gabriel, doesn't clear it, and then it's like there's a list of things, isn't there, where Arsenal just haven't quite been on their game today at all. They've not been snapping into those tackles, winning the challenges enough of the 50-50s or loose balls or balls into the box. They just haven't been on top in this game at all today.
So Fulham, who've not beaten Arsenal since 2012, now lead by 2-1. Rice playing it through the middle, touch on the edge of the area from Nketiah, but then Bassi sweeps it away downfield. So Fulham have turned this match around. What about Tottenham-Bournemouth? Mike Williams.
Still Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0, but how has Richarlison not made it 2 for Tottenham? Giovanni Lo Celso storming through the middle of the park. Lovely layoff to Son, who gave it to Richarlison, who inexplicably dragged it wide with the goal at his mercy. At the other end, Dominic Solanke, who else for Bournemouth, had his effort from a corner cleared off the line. And a weather update, John. We've just had a very violent hailstorm here in North London. Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0.
We've just had light rain here in West London and in Leicester. Sarah Orchard.
Brooding skies here as it's now Leicester 7, Bath 7, 20 minutes on the clock as we've seen Leicester fight back with a try of their own through Matt Rogerson, built on a great forward platform and patience. It's Leicester 7, Bath 7.
Yes, the skies in Leicester last night were more than brooding. They were absolutely furious.
He's rubbing your nose in it there, John, saying there's a hailstorm.
Hailstorm,
surely.
Is it? Where's the app?
Do we have a light drizzle?
Have we got a hail app? Robinson clearing the ball away on the edge of the penalty area. But now Arsenal, we're looking here at a real setback to Arsenal's hopes of winning the league this season. Arsenal, not won the title since 2004. Saka on the right-hand side. Saka then being challenged by Kearney. He's epitomised what Fulham have been all about today. This Arsenal side, after the defeat against West Ham on Thursday night, they've won 1 of their last 5 in all competitions. They are faltering and they're losing here to Fulham. But it is Arsenal in possession. Odegaard receives it deep. Odegaard then has a shuffle forward. Square from him. Tomiyasu's onto this. Martinelli waits on the left-hand side. Martinelli gets the crossover right-footed to the back post. 2 Fulham men went for it. Saka! Clear chance. The angle was tight and he volleyed it high across goal and behind. And he knows that he's missed an opportunity there, Bukayo Saka.
Well, Anthony Robinson breathing a sigh of relief here for Fulham because he makes a real hash of the clearance, gets up with his head but doesn't get the contact. He loops up in the air, the ball. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that Saka has a lot of time to think about this strike. It takes a while to come down out of the sky, but he gets kind of caught between 2 stools technically. It's not a side foot, it's not a lace, he's get your knee over the ball. It's kind of a little bit of both and just blasts it high over the crossbar. Real opportunity for Saka.
Ball bounces towards the edge of the Arsenal box. Saliba, under pressure from De Cordova-Reid, gave it away. Cross from Iwobi, that's headed down by Saliba. And Arsenal should get it away. Arsenal now know in this match they can't make another slip. To go 3-1 down, that The way that this match has gone, that would be asking, one would feel, too much of Arsenal. And there, Rice has given it away. He's passed it to Willian. Willian drives to the edge of the box. In comes the sliding challenge. It was a good one as well from Gabriel. Then Willian commits a foul on Odegaard. Free kick to Arsenal.
But just before that passage there's a bit of a kerfuffle with the ball. It pops out and Iwobi's on the move. He's sensing it. He's on that ball first, and that, for me, that's just been the story of the game for me. Fulham have just had that bit of momentum. They've just been a little bit braver and more in tune with where that ball's going to end up, and they're winning that kind of battle, certainly on loose balls at the moment, which is a key part of this game.
Palhinha dived in there. He was fortunate that he didn't make contact, otherwise that could have been yet another yellow card for Palhinha. The Arsenal attack continues. Tomiyasu on the left hand side, Rice just capping it back to Gabriel on the halfway line. Declan Rice now turns just forward of the centre circle. To his left to Gabriel, through the middle to Saka. Saka rides the challenge from Kenny. No, he was fouled. It's a free kick to Arsenal, central position, and a yellow card for Kenny as well. While Arsenal organise themselves here, back to Tottenham. Mike Williams.
Still Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0, but another chance for Bournemouth. Tavernier pulled it back to Dominic Solanke, who's been such a handful today for the Spurs defenders. He just pulled it wide, but Bournemouth on top here as they make a double substitution. Is Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0.
Dominic Solanke, currently the leading England qualified scorer in the Premier League. Free kick for Arsenal. So Odegaard and Havertz in discussions. Gabriel standing in front of the ball. You would think Odegaard.
So it only looks to appear to be that option, John, unless Declan Rice, who's picking up a position just behind Martin Odegaard, but it looks more of a defensive position. This certainly looks to be just the left foot of Odegaard over this ball, which is a nice distance, isn't it? It's probably 10 yards outside of the 18-yard box, which gives him that distance just to put a bit more power on this if he's got the ability to get it up and down over the wall.
Let's see. Big moments these. Free kick 25 yards out. It is central, very central, and it's Odegaard, left foot over the wall, but high over the bar as well, as the crowd reaction from the Fulham fans will have told you. And the Arsenal fans standing, many of them in their section of the Putney end, at that end of the ground. Just one or two of them applaud encouragement now. And we're going to see a change with Trossard coming on for Arsenal, and Martinelli makes way. A few Arsenal players have gone over there. Not sure the board has actually gone up yet from Tim Robinson.
Gabriel Jesus kitted up as well.
Coming on as well. Well, it's Ben White whose number goes up first. And so Gabriel Jesus is on, Trossard is on. So Ben White is off.
Yep.
And has Martinelli left the field?
Yes,
I think he has.
because Trossard is on the pitch, along with Gabriel Jesus, and it looks to be like Tomiyasu's drifted across to the right-hand side of the pitch, and whether or not Trossard, I can't imagine Trossard's going to be left back, is he? Whether or not they go to a back three, Arsenal.
As the ball is bouncing back towards the Arsenal penalty area, Gabriel back to Raya, who clears from the ground. Some very, very dark clouds over the top of the Hammersmith end suddenly. If that's coming our way, that could be hail, Matt. Where's the app? Here's Jimenez through the middle. Jimenez turning, playing it back towards Iwobi. Iwobi now to Kenny in the centre circle. And then back it goes into the Fulham half. Fulham leading by 2-1. Robinson leaves it to Willian on the left-hand side. Willian just running the ball across the penalty area, and that pass was a little short to Castagna, who had to be sharp, but he was against Trossard, who's now pushing forward down the left-hand side. Chests it down. In comes Palhinha, the ever-popular Palhinha. They love him here. And then Jimenez had strayed into an offside position. Free kick, Arsenal 2-1 Fulham lead.
Yeah, you just couldn't get back onside there, Jimenez. But Trossard looks to be playing like what looks to be kind of left wing back. And Arsenal in a bit of a back three shape with Tomiyasu on the right hand side, Saliba in the middle, Gabriel on the left, and I think that is the way they're going to go for the rest of this game, or at least until they get back in this game.
So you've got Jesus actually almost playing up front alongside Nketiah
as a two, and Havertz is very advanced on that left side of the midfield three. Declan Rice sat in front of the back three, and Trossard high on the left hand side.
Basically he's going for it here.
Yeah, well, he has to.
He has gambled here, Mikel Arteta, big style.
Absolutely, especially given the success that Fulham have had down the flanks in this game so far. They've really tested Arsenal with a back four, so it's going to be interesting on the counter-attack or when they turn over the ball. Where that space is.
Saliba overhits that. It hit Robinson, bounced down, and this is the danger for Arsenal now. When Fulham come forward, Mikel Arteta, with these changes, really is trusting to the fact that his team are going to dominate possession and they're not going to give Fulham opportunities. And, that could backfire. It's entirely possible that Fulham will be able to take advantage of that, but we'll see. Right now, Fulham 2, Arsenal 1, 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. Ball bouncing back towards Adebayo, who, under pressure from Jesus, hoists it up into the roof of the stand here, above our heads, the old tin roof. Trossard to take the throw, down the left. Trossard takes that in towards Jesus, then Trossard again. The two substitutes together, but Jimenez, excellent in there, wins the ball back for Fulham. Floodlights now beginning to take effect with those dark clouds moving overhead. Here's Castagna. I think there is going to be an almighty cloudburst any moment now as Castagna plays it back to goalkeeper Leno. So let's bring in Sarah Orchard from Leicester again.
Leicester 14, Bath 7, 27 minutes on the clock as Leicester have finally taken control of this fixture. It was through Mike Brown out on the left wing as he finally curled one round the corner to catch himself and touchdown. Puts them in the lead. It's Leicester 14, Bath 7.
Bounce of the ball goes Fulham way, and Iwobi. Now Jimenez on the edge of the area through two challenges, but not through the third. He's run into Tomiyasu. Then a shot and a save from Raya. What an effort from Kearney. 25 yards out. He hit that so well. And diving to his left, Raya was able to make the save.
That was a bizarre passage of play, really.
Although
was.
I think the referee bring it back?
I think there's an offside flag up.
He's brought it back for the foul, I think, by Jimenez on Tomiyasu.
I think it's the offside, actually, when the shot went in from Kearney. Somebody was offside. I think it was Declan Overeem was in an offside position who shepherded the ball out of play.
Pereira is going to come on for Fulham. Andreas Pereira, who is 28 tomorrow, and he's going to take the place of Iwobi. So a straight swap. That's Fulham's first change.
Yeah, he's done well, Iwobi. He's done a really good job out of possession. Been sniffing about in the midfield area, picking up any loose balls, always on the move, looking to run forwards as well. Just bring on some fresh legs in that area. I mean, that's quite a sign of intent from Marco Silva, really, to think, well, maybe Arsenal are a little bit vulnerable, pushing forwards for an equaliser. Perhaps Fulham can just catch them on the break, and with a fresh player like Pereira, who's got good attacking ability and creativity of passing, he's got the ideal candidate on the pitch now.
It's an unexpected change, that. Pereira, not in the team today, started every Premier League match since October. But with all of these matches, given a break, Fulham, 3 of their next 4 matches are cup matches. They've got Rotherham in the FA Cup, and then the Liverpool matches, and now the heavens open and the rain pours down on Craven Cottage.
Are you happy now?
It's come, it's arrived.
You've been waiting for it.
It is proper rain. Fulham 2, Arsenal 1, 5 Live and the World Service. Still Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0 in the Sports Extra commentary match. Trossard now right-footed into the penalty area, headed away by Adebayo, then further away by Kearney. It bounces down for Pereira, does well in a tight area, and now Jimenez with a high pass, but the wind is blowing the rain right into the back of the stand where we are. It is torrential, and now the spectators in the front rows here are running for cover. Pereira down the left-hand side in the middle of this rainstorm here on the banks of the Thames. Still Pereira goes, and eventually it runs out. We're under pressure for a goal kick to Arsenal. Conditions now, it's almost monsoon-like here. Fulham 2, Arsenal 1. I bet it's dry now in North London. Mike Williams?
It is. We've got clear skies now here, John. We've sent that hail from North London to West London just for you. In the last few minutes here, Tottenham looking to double their lead. They lead Bournemouth by a goal to 0. Again, though, Heung-min Son pretty wasteful when in the box, when he could have crossed to Brennan Johnson, and it perhaps should have been 2-0. And we've got double top here as well, John. We've got 2 darts royalties. Not only Chris Dobie, who knocked out Michael Smith this week, the defending champion, but the 16-year-old sensation, Luke Littler, fresh from reaching the quarter-finals, is here. And he's watching his beloved Spurs lead Bournemouth by a goal to 0.
Shouldn't he be resting? Although I suppose at 16 you don't need to rest. I thought he was talking about what a thrill it was that he met Declan Rice this week, the Tottenham fan. Anyway, here is Declan Rice out to the right-hand side. The rain now, it's absolutely hammering on the roof of the Johnny Haynes stand. Honestly, it is extraordinary, this. The match being played in an absolute downpour. The ball through the middle for Arsenal, it breaks down. Some of the photographers will be having a field day in these conditions. Now Pereira breaks from centre field, then just flicks it back to Kearney, out to the left-hand side. The gutters have broken down. The water is absolutely pouring out of the drains at the top of the stand now, with Fulham in possession on the left-hand side. It bounces down for Arsenal. Odegaard plays it back into his own penalty area. In these conditions, anything could happen, Matt.
Yeah, no, it does put a different slant on the game, doesn't it? It's the wind, John. I mean, you can deal with the kind of heaviness of rain. It's not ridiculously heavy in terms of size of droplets, but it's the wind with it, isn't it? It's just making it swirl all around the place, which makes the conditions so hard to get hold of the ball.
Yeah, just wait till you see the pictures on Match of the Day 2 tonight on BBC One, anytime on the iPlayer. Paul Robinson's on Match of the Day tonight. He was with me at the City Ground last night. And then the 5 Live Football Daily podcast with all of the interviews if you don't hear them later. And 6:06 between 5 and 7 today on 5 Live. So Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton with the last 6:06 of 2023. The lines, well, we'll let you know when the lines are open for 6:06, the usual number, but 5 until 7 tonight. Arsenal coming forward. Arsenal trailing here. Another blow to their hopes of winning the Premier League title, unless they can do something about this. The roof is leaking. It's dripping onto me. Here's Gabriel. Back to Saliba. Saliba. Pass through the middle to Jesus on the edge of the area. It bounces away, and Fulham will break away. Jesus in with a challenge. That's a free kick, and it's a chance for Fulham just to slow things down again with 15 minutes to play here, and Arsenal losing. Back to Tottenham, Mike Williams.
We mentioned last time how wasteful Son Heung-min had been at times this afternoon. Well, he wasn't just then, because the South Korean has doubled Spurs' lead here. It is Tottenham 2, Bournemouth 0. Lovely finish from Son. We're just checking offside here. I think that will stand. He was played through, ran straight into the box, and without even taking a second glance, played it across Neto and into the bottom right-hand corner to send the home fans into raptures. The clouds, by the way, have opened again here. We've got more rain, but the home fans don't care. They lead Bournemouth by 2-0, and that could be the end of Bournemouth's good run.
Absolutely tipping down here still at Craven Cottage, and Arsenal have made it. Another change. That isn't change number 4. It's Reece Nelson on for Kai Havertz.
I mean, it just shows you how much these Fulham fans are enjoying this 2-1 lead over Arsenal, because they're still sat in a puddle at the front of this stadium enjoying this game. It is a good game. There's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. Dico Overeed, who scored what might be the winning goal, but he deflected out of play for a throw into Arsenal halfway inside their own half. So Nelson is on. So we've got Trossard, Nelson, Gabriel Jesus, and Nketiah, Saka, Odegaard. They're all out there on the field. But really, Arsenal are making little impression in terms of, they're not banging on the Fulham door here.
No, there's not enough with the ball, not enough control, not enough creativity. Like I said, I've seen a lot of Arsenal this season, and it's been real slick, whether it's a collective wow moment, whether it's an individual piece of skill, but we've seen this team doing excellent things. The last couple of games, certainly in an attacking sense, it just hasn't been there for Arsenal.
Nketiah chests it to the left to Trossard. Cross from the Belgian, that's cleared away by Robinson on the fall. Arsenal though win it back. Gabriel, here is Reece Nelson, square from him to Odegaard. Odegaard just drops his shoulder, gives it out to the right hand side. Tomiyasu runs onto it, the pass from Saka. Tomiyasu over there on the far side, rain continuing, waves of it being blown by that wind across from right to left. Now Declan Rice is onto this in the full-back position. Back it comes centrally. Odegaard knocks it across. 30 yards out, 35 yards out. Gabriel. Saliba joins in. Then Declan Rice. High ball into the penalty area towards the back post, and Castagna just has to watch it onto his head and glance it behind for a corner from the left.
Well, it's a smart idea for me to cross the ball as much as you can in these conditions, even if it's from deep there. Declan Rice with his right foot just thinks, I'm just going to whip this in the box and see what can happen with it, when all of a sudden the conditions have just cleared, John, and it's gone from a monsoon to now being actually quite calm and quite still with not that much rain coming down.
Fulham are making changes. I'll tell you about them when we come back from Sarah Orchard at Leicester Bath.
Yeah, it's Leicester 21, Bath 7 as Leicester make a breakaway towards the halfway line. 3 tries now for the Tigers, and Bath are defending with 14 at the moment after their captain GJ Van Veltz was sent to the sin bin after he's killing the ball on the line. A few moments later, Leicester went over for that all-important third through James Cronin. They now lead 21 points to 7 on 33 minutes.
Diop and Wilson have come on for Willian and Cordova-Reid. Here's the Arsenal corner. This is their first corner of the match, Arsenal, and that speaks for itself. Over it comes, cleared away, comes back to Trossard on the left-hand side. His ball across, dangerous! No one got a touch in the 6-yard box, and it's all the way through and rattling around the feet of those photographers.
Well, it's a delivery worthy of somebody on the end of it for sure. Trossard skips onto his left foot and he just crosses it. It's a delightful cross, it really is. But this says a lot about where Arsenal are at in terms of creating these opportunities but not having the body in the right place just to put that ball in the back of the net. Any kind of touch in the 6-yard box and it's in, and Gabriel is the last player right at the back post just to miss it. But for me, that's that centre-forward instinct. That's a Gabriel Jesus, it's an Nketiah, just to get in that part of the box and just get a final touch and bring Arsenal back into this game.
And remarkably, the storm has eased. It is still raining, but it's only gentle rain now here.
And that was the first corner. I mean, when you consider the set plays, how that has impacted. I mean, Arsenal's probably nearly scored 50% of their goals from set plays this season. They've been that good at corners, especially. They've been excellent. But for them to not have created any opportunities to even just win corners and put Fulham under pressure, it's another element of the game today that hasn't been quite up to scratch.
And Matt, with Diop coming on, Fulham now with a back 5.
Yeah.
So with Arsenal, all of the attacking talent on the field, Marco Silva has said, right, you know, I'll put Diop on there as well. But here's Saka, brilliant, into the area, then the shot, and in comes the challenge as well from Palhinha, who arrived there with Saka. And actually Palhinha celebrating the tackle that he put in on Saka. Was actually caught by Saka, and Fulham have won a free kick on the edge of the box.
Love that from Palhinha. Love the tackle, but also love the celebration. I mean, it is like scoring a goal. I mean, that might be a defender's perspective, but such a crucial tackle. Saka lining up his left foot, and this tackle comes from nowhere. Really commits to it, goes to ground, but wins the ball absolutely brilliantly. It's a superb tackle from Palhinha and clatters into Saka as well.
Brilliant piece of football that, actually.
Really
superb
was.
From Saka and excellent from Palhinha. That's why the big clubs are interested in Palhinha.
Yep.
For that sort of play.
It's worth a lot, John.
It is worth a lot. Fulham 2, Arsenal 1 remains the score here. And still Tottenham lead by 2-0. And more news from Leicester, from Sarah Orchard.
It's a bonus point try now for the Tigers. They need Leicester 28, Bath 7, 36 minutes on the clock now. The bonus point try for the lock, George Martin. He'll be looking to impress in front of the England coaches watching ahead of that big Six Nations announcement in a few weeks' time. But what a moment for Leicester, who need to get back up that Premiership table. They lead 28 points to 7.
Yeah, Six Nations, part of the big sport that you will hear, as usual, on 5 Live in the new year. Six Nations, the Olympics, Paralympics, free kick, Pereira plays it in for Fulham, it's headed away near the penalty spot by Saliba, and Fulham take it up again on the left-hand side. All of the top football, of course, many commentaries. Champions League, FA Cup starts on Thursday night. Our first commentary, Crystal Palace against Everton on Thursday night. First FA Cup third-round commentary, and then, of course, Euro 2024. Ball into the penalty area. Jimenez on the left, takes it to the byline. He's got options, couldn't find any of them. Tried to drive it across, hit the first defender, but it is a Fulham corner.
Well, it just comes from a tackle almost from Anthony Robinson, wins the ball from Saka, it loops up in the air, and it just turns into a great pass to Jimenez. His first touch isn't great, which can't set him up properly.
It remains Fulham 2, Arsenal 1. Arsenal heading to their second defeat of the week. this would blow quite a hole in their hopes of winning the Premier League. Corner comes in, flick headed away to the edge of the area and then dragged wide by Wilson on the edge of the box. The substitute got onto that with his left foot, but really just screwed it wide, and it is a goal kick to Arsenal with time running out. 6 minutes. 6 minutes plus added time to play. That's all Arsenal have got back, and we're almost reaching the stage. And listen, I know that Arsenal are one of the great scorers of late goals, this Mikel Arteta side, but even by their standards, if they're going to win this match, we're asking a lot. And it is Fulham actually who break away with Kearney down the left hand side. Across comes the cross, but it's blocked by Gabriel Jesus, who was the man back in there playing the auxiliary right back, and eventually winning a goal kick. In fact, it's played back, deflected back to Raya, who will quickly give it out to Declan Rice to get it downfield. Back to Tottenham, Mike Williams.
Game, set and match to Tottenham. Spurs 3, Bournemouth 0. Richarlison weighing in right at the end. Brennan Johnson with a beautiful pullback. I'm not sure how much the Brazilian Richarlison knew about it, but he got his foot to it to divert it past Neto and make it Spurs 3, Bournemouth 0.
So Tottenham now on the way to victory, but Arsenal facing defeat again against Fulham here. Previously out of form, Fulham, mind you. Before they were out of form, they were bang in form. Their last wins were their 2 5-0 victories against Nottingham Forest and West Ham, and this has been a spirited, characterful performance from Fulham, who were 1-0 down in the 5th minute, but are now 5 minutes and added time away from victory. A lot of talk about Arsenal after this, I'm sure. The lines are open now for 606 to talk to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on 5 Live in the 606 phone in between 5 and 7 o'clock tonight. So 08085 909 693. You can book your call on 85058. Social media hashtag BBC 606. Robbie and Chris would love to hear from you. And Fulham coming forward. Wilson has been pulled back by Saliba. Now Wilson would have been away to the penalty area. This could be a red card. Referee Wilson produces a yellow. That is debatable. That is very debatable. It was right on the edge of the box when he was pulled back and went down. It is a free kick, but only a yellow card.
Well, it all comes from Jimenez. Really wins the flick header brilliantly. The ball then gets played, and wow, I think there may well just be enough cover on from Gabriel. It's Saliba with the tug back of Harry Wilson. No doubt it's a foul, but I think Gabriel was just about alongside the ball to be enough cover for it to warrant a yellow card, John, but it was certainly tight.
That's a subjective decision by the referee. So I think when VAR look at that, the feeling will be that's the on-field decision, and they'll back that up.
Absolutely, and that's how it should be. It's not. There's nothing there that's a glaring error at all. But from the referee,
he'll be looking at it. Tim Robinson, who was the referee at the City Ground last night, is the man at Stockley Park in front of the screens. But they've backed up on-field referee Josh Smith. Only a yellow card for Saliba. That's certainly one to talk about. But it is Wilson himself who run over the ball, and it's taken by Pereira, who strikes the crossbar, comes back out, headed it back over the top by Adebayo, headed back in by Pereira. Arsenal struggling to get it away. Rice does get the clearance on it, and they were the width of the crossbar from going 3-1 down there. Arsenal with the Pereira free kick.
A superb strike from Pereira, caught it so clean, just rattled right off the meat of the crossbar, straight back out into play. Fulham really asking the question of Arsenal here.
Arsenal 40 points, the leaders. Liverpool with 42, Aston Villa with 42. They will lose ground here with this scoreline. Rice though trying to do something about it, into the penalty area, wins the corner from the right hand side. We're in the 88th minute of the match. Fulham leading Arsenal by 2-1. Come on Fulham is the shout. They've not beaten Arsenal since 2012. Corner, Saka waits to take it. Lots of movement inside the box. Here it is, into the near post, headed away by Wilson, not too far, headed further away by Bassi, and then downfield. This is for Pereira to chase. Wilson's in the middle, defenders coming back. Pereira's ball right across the penalty area is beyond Wilson, over him. Jimenez chasing, he gets there first. Fulham still in possession. Back it comes for Kearney. He's been excellent in the midfield. Kearney, the experienced 32-year-old that he is now.
I tell you, it's the best I've seen Raul Jimenez play for a long time as well, John. I think he's been excellent. He was superb in that counter-attack there. The way he took the ball, stepped out with it, lovely passing behind. He's been a real physical presence down the middle for Fulham as well, and has caused Gabriel and Saliba a lot of problems, certainly in the air as well. Won some really good flick-ons.
Here is Robinson down the left, and Gabriel in the middle just has to help it away. Back out to the right-hand side. Jimenez allows it to roll out for a throw. Another goal at Tottenham, Mike Williams.
Lifeline perhaps for Bournemouth. Spurs 3, Bournemouth 1. Alex Scott with his first ever goal in the Premier League, the substitute. Brilliant pullback from Tavernier. It fell to Scott, who pulled the trigger, and it went past Vicario to make it Spurs 3, Bournemouth 1.
We're in the 90th minute now. Arsenal facing another defeat. Their second defeat since Christmas. Fulham take the throw. Kearney slips it forward towards the edge of the box. Rice is in there. Jimenez as well. Bounces back for the Arsenal man. In slides Jimenez again. Arsenal trying to play it out from the back. It's very tight in there. Excellent play by Rice, who evades Palhinha. If Palhinha had caught Rice there, I mean, that was yellow card all day long. Rice managed to hurdle the challenge.
I think everyone in the front rows of the crowd kind of tried to get out of the way as well. His momentum was going to take him into the stand, I think.
Palhinha might take out one or two in the first two rows. 5 minutes of added time, that's what Arsenal have got back. This Arsenal team, they've scored 5 Premier League goals this season in added time at the end of second halves, but they lose possession, and it's played away, and Bassi is then blatantly blocked by Odegaard, and no free kick given for that. Well, that was generous by referee Smith as well. Now Tomiyasu, Saka on the right hand side. Saka left-footed ball into the box, headed away by Palhinha. Comes out, Declan Rice takes it down to the Odegaard on the edge of the box. Oh, that's lovely, change of feet. Saka lifts it in, Jesus at the near post, couldn't get a touch. All the way through, Leno falls on the ball.
Well, 1, 2, 3 Arsenal players in the box, nobody getting across the face of that ball. You know when Saka shifts it onto his left foot, it's going to be an in-swinging cross. It's going to be a more narrower angle in towards the goalkeeper. One of those players, be it Nketiah, be it Nelson, be it Jesus, has to get across the face of that ball and get any kind of touch. Nobody does. It's all a little bit static in that box.
Arsenal on the way to what would be their 4th Premier League defeat of this season. This week, twice in 4 days, they've had the chance to go to the top, and not only have they missed the chance, they're losing. Well, they've lost one, and they're losing this one as well. Jimenez caught offside, and he's actually cleared the ball. He's actually kicked the ball away. He went for goal, and he's pleading the innocent, but he knew what he was doing, Jimenez, and he's booked for time wasting. And Marco Silva is making a change. This is to wind the clock down through these 5 minutes of added time as much as anything. It's Kearney who's going off, and Harrison Reed who's coming on. So while Fulham make that change, I think it's half-time with you, Sarah Orchard.
Yes, Leicester 28, Bath 10. Leicester already with a bonus point try. They're looking good for the second half. Bath have played out the end of the first without their captain, GJ Van Velt's in the bin. Half-time, Leicester 28, Bath 10.
Fulham still making this change, trying to string it out as long as they can. Harrison Reed coming on into the midfield for Kearney. So it looks like a costly defeat. I see Luis Bournemorte, one of Marco Silva's coaches, who you will know, has got a big smile on his face there, the former Arsenal man.
He's always got a big smile on his face, Boa. It's part of the charm of Luis Bournemorte. Very upbeat, very friendly character.
And Stuart Gray as well. Great experience. Great mix they are. Marco Silva, Luis Bournemorte, Stuart Gray. So Fulham now just really a couple of minutes away. We've already had 3 minutes of added time of the 5 that were shown. Arsenal, they'll take a point now, you'd have to say that. Saka with it on the right hand side, and then Odegaard. Now Trossard back to the right hand side. Odegaard again, curling it in high. Jesus with a header. Actually, 2 Arsenal players went for the same ball, and Jesus couldn't get a clear header on it. Bounces down for Robinson on the edge of the box. He plays it away to Pereira. Robinson does well, but in challenging for that ball, it's dropped to Arsenal again. Now Nelson, Reece Nelson, remember that goal, that late goal against Bournemouth last season from Nelson, but then Jesus is dispossessed by Palhinha, who then just runs into Gabriel. And Arsenal have got it back. He was like a bullet again, Palhinha. Now Tomiyasu to the right hand side. Saka is there, Saka against Robinson. Robinson just get the foot in and the ball rolls out of play for an Arsenal corner. Will I make it now? We've got a minute and a quarter to go.
Well, set plays, corners especially, been superb this season from Arsenal. They've got to make this one count. They need to take something out of this game.
Rain continues to fall from the heavens next to the Thames as Saka plays this in. A big header by Diop, cut up high above everyone else, by Adebayo it was, the number 4, who headed it back and out of play for another Arsenal corner from the far side. Saka waits again. We are now in the final minute of added time. Saka with the corner to the near post. Again it's Adebayo who gets up and is able to head it back out to Saka on the Arsenal right. Saka rolls it in on the edge of the box. Saliba, Odegaard is over there as well. Odegaard comes in field, plays it back, and then the high ball in is overhit horribly beyond the far post, beyond everyone in the box. It drops out of play from Trossard, and that might be it. That might be another defeat for Arsenal.
Yeah, the cheer from the Fulham supporters says a lot about the quality of that final delivery from Trossard. Just got it horribly wrong, and now there's a lot of people turning away, walking up the aisles and the terracing, thinking that the job's done for Fulham.
Well, this is going to take Fulham in great heart into the new year, into their cup commitments. The semi-final against Liverpool, a little taste of what it might be like in the second leg of that tie. Fulham, who've never won a major trophy. Fulham, who've not beaten Arsenal since 2012. Last 5 times Arsenal have been here, they've won. There'll be lots of talk. 606 will be taking your calls about whether Arsenal need to make a move, need to buy players in January. But with this existing squad, this is putting a big hole in what they hope to do this season. As Diop, over the top of Jesus, wins the header. Only seconds left to go. Ball bounces out of play. Jimenez up against Gabriel, who went down. He claims he was fouled. Gabriel is giving a mouthful to the assistant referee. Jimenez then falls over but quickly gets up. 5 minutes are up. In fact, more than that. 6 minutes are up. These are the final seconds. It's going to be a defeat for Arsenal. It's their second defeat in 4 days. And not only have they missed the chance to go to the top of the league at New Year, they've lost for the second time in 4 days, and their hopes of winning the league in 2024 have taken a big blow here at the end of December. Great win for Fulham though, from 1-0 down after 5 minutes. Great spirit from a run of defeats, 3 consecutive defeats in the Premier League. This has been quite the return to form for Marco Silva's team. Matt Upson.
Well, I'm just watching the celebration of Palhinha, and as a Fulham fan, how can you not like this guy? He's everywhere, isn't he? He's bouncing all over the pitch, he's tackling, he just plays the game in such a positive, aggressive manner. And I think that epitomised the whole Fulham performance today. Even from having the disappointment of going a goal down so early on, it could have been really easy to have got deflated. They've not scored in their last 3 Premier League games. They've been on a bit of a losing streak. But this game never felt like that at all from their perspective, even though that early setback happened. And I think that's the biggest compliment I can give Fulham. The way they gave that account of themselves. The manager has to take some credit, but the players gave everything on the pitch, and they actually deserved this result. I felt that they viewed the game and they took the game to Arsenal no matter what, and they've come out with the result that they wanted.
They have, and for Arsenal, a second consecutive Premier League defeat for the first time this season. And clearly now we know how it works. There will be questions about whether Arsenal need to recruit in January. I imagine from Mikel Arteta, who's walking off the pitch now, I can see him with his head down, a very, very serious expression on his face in the West London rain. I imagine the message from him will be, we're not going to panic.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can't panic in this situation at all, but there's something about the way Arsenal are going about these games. it just isn't clicking. When it's all going right for Arsenal, I've seen them many times, the ball's firing, those little triangles, the Rice, Odegaard, Saka on one side and Martinelli on the other. They're carving teams open, John, and there's chance after chance, and they're being clinical and they're finishing. That hasn't quite been the case of late, and they've looked a little bit suspect at the back as well, conceding a few goals. So they've got to go away, regroup, get together. This is a tough Premier League season. You're going to have these bumps, and they've got to come back, and they need to get those results. They need to put that right and get that confidence high again.
Yes, what a disappointing end to 2023 for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, but a real uplift for Fulham. And they're dancing their way off the pitch, the Fulham players together. Bassi leading the dancing. He was excellent at the back, incidentally, the number 3 for Fulham. And they've won it. They've beaten Arsenal by 2-1.
When it rains, it pours for Arsenal. 1 win in 5 Premier League games now for Mikel Arteta's side. And Matthew Upson, just on a complete side note, the ovation Raul Jimenez is getting. We saw him head over to the new main stand, the Riverside stand at Craven Cottage, and just take a bit of love from his partner and his child. But the adulation he's getting, he was impeccable on his return, and he's proving and rewarding the faith that Marco Silva has shown in him.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about him a little bit during the game, and rightly so, Aaron, to be honest. I mean, the journey that he's been on individually and personally must have been incredibly tough. And I think getting back into a place where you're confident to be aggressive, to be physical, to throw your body out there after having the injury that he sustained, huge credit to him and his support network of people and the club, because he played today like that Raul Jimenez that we saw play for Wolverhampton Wanderers prior to that injury. Yeah, and it's been a while to see him there, John. I'm so glad to see him playing that way.
You can see, actually, in his reaction, the way that he is. Somebody's given him a Mexican flag. He's carrying a Mexican flag off the field, and he's taken that head guard off. And, you know, the smile on his face, you can see it in his body language that he knows himself.
Yes.
And he will have doubted, won't he?
Of course. That's all part of the journey. And to actually get to a place where you're comfortable, that you can put your head in situations. He's a big physical centre forward. The amount of flick-ons he won today, where he's running across the face of the 2 centre-backs and glancing the ball on, you can easily get a blow in the head, and to psychologically move on from that is a huge challenge. So credit to him. I don't think you can underestimate how difficult that is, and to see him in this kind of form is a delight, and the Fulham fans will be absolutely delighted, because if he can sustain that and he keeps playing like that, he is a top player.
John, social media and the papers will focus on back-to-back defeats for Arsenal, but for Fulham, this is a performance they've longed for in recent games.
I'll tell you what epitomised them today. It was that tackle by Palhinha on Saka. I suspect that will be clipped up and appear on a social media near you very soon. You know, that was the image of the match, really. A brilliant piece of play from Saka to beat 2 men, I think, into the penalty area. And the way that Palhinha came in, I mean, he mistimed some challenges today. He actually missed some challenges. He was quite fortunate that he actually didn't take 1 or 2 out, because he could have been, if he'd made contact with a couple of those, he'd have been off the field. But that was brilliant.
I mean, it was, Fulham just had the handle on Arsenal today defensively. Like you say, that challenge of Pitman, but anything Arsenal kind of threw at Fulham, they dealt with. The centre-backs dealt with it, crosses into the box. I thought physically they stood up, and it required a little bit something different or something extra from Arsenal today to win here, and they just couldn't quite muster it up.
Matt,
I mean, you know, Aaron, he's important. Palhinha, you know, I know there's all of the talk about whether he will be sold, whether someone will buy him in January, but such an important player for this team. And yes, you know, he was so close to going to Bayern Munich at the end of the transfer window. But with Fulham, you know, the prospect of the semi-final against Liverpool, the prospect of actually winning something with Fulham, and I know that is a very big if. You know, whether that might be something that perhaps doesn't happen until the new year. But anyway, he is very much sought after. But I expect that whoever wants him will have to pay big for him.
Absolutely. The engine room in that Fulham midfield, it really dictates everything they do. And in Tom Cairney, he's got himself a partner who's really reinvigorated his career after a turbulent couple of seasons. Matt, we've got to focus in on Arsenal, as everyone is going to do. Where does Mikel Arteta begin to decipher this one?
I think for me, Aaron, when things aren't going well, the best thing that I've ever done in terms of an individual point of view is peel it back and go back to the basics and make life simple. And I think sometimes going back to those simple foundations, those fundamentals of what makes Arsenal a top team, what makes these players world-class players, is a way to get back into that flow of just doing the simple things well, and the end result of that will be you'll win football matches because you've got top players. At the moment, I think they're trying really hard, but it's quite complex. It can be... Everything's got to be slotted into place at the right moment, at the right time. And I know that's perfection, and maybe Mikel Arteta coaches the team to want to behave and play like that every game. But I think you're going to have matches where that's just not going to happen, or you're going to have flows of form where that's not going to happen. Then you step back and go, well, how can we simplify it? How can we be more direct? How can we be more effective? And at the moment, they're not quite getting that balance right for me. I think the sheer fact that the left-back is still going into that central midfield role, even though it was Kiwior in the first half and Tomiyasu in the second, to me, I'm not sure if that's really where they're comfortable. They're going to have much positive impact with the ball. So little things like that and those little tweaks just getting Arsenal back on form.
John, what we do know is what you and I were talking about before the game, and that is that simply we have a title race on our hands.
Yeah, we do, but this has done serious damage to Arsenal. I think you have to say that.